Well, well, well. Are we on the cusp? Are we on the verge of seeing something historic, something never before accomplished in the history of the NBA, the storied history dating back to the 1940s, the late 1940s, that is, professional basketball in the United States of America? Of course, the ABA-NBA merger point in 1976, ushering in the modern era of NBA basketball. But never at any point through all of it have we ever seen a team blow a 3-0 series lead at any stage of the playoffs. Coming into these playoffs this year, 159 teams had tried and 159 teams had failed, because teams to take that 3-0 series lead in a best of 7, 159-0 coming into these playoffs. And that number now sits at 160-0 because, of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder took a 3-0 lead in their first round best of 7 against the Phoenix Suns, and they ultimately sweep the Suns out of the playoffs, which, by the way, if we are looking at history as any kind of a precedent, that is typically the way these things unfold, is that they end in a sweep. When a team goes up 3-0, that is typically it. In fact, the Houston Rockets forcing just a game 6 now in this series on the heels of yet another gutsy win, defensively oriented win tonight, 2 in a row now for them. They become just the 16th team to go down 3-0 and force even a game 6. So 16 out of 160. Obviously, the Rockets are already in rarefied air. I did not confirm the numbers of teams to force it to a game 7. I want to say that number is around 8. And the closest it has ever come in my studies of NBA basketball and in my personal lifetime of watching NBA basketball now, going on about 30 years now, was the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics series from a few years ago. I believe it was 2023, when the Celtics were the 2 seed that year. The Milwaukee Bucks were the 1. Of course, Giannis hurt his back in game 1 of the 1-8 series against the Miami Heat, which prompted the Heat. Of course, they had other things going their way. Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, had some massive late game heroics during that series. And the Heat ultimately becoming that 8-1 upset over the Bucks that year, the last we saw in that capacity, of course. The Heat ran all the way to the NBA Finals, but to get there, they had to beat the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. They went up 3-0 on Boston. Boston stormed back, won 3 straight games, and I thought it was a foregone conclusion that we were going to see history that year. Boston was, I believe, 9-point favorites at home in Game 7 before Jason Tatum got hurt, and they ultimately choked away Game 7, lost by like 18. That I really thought we were going to see it happen. In this series, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm saying there's a chance. Houston's got a chance because after their own egregious choke job in Game 3 to go into the 0-3 hole, they have now largely dominated back-to-back games. And just to refresh your memories, if you do not remember, the Houston Rockets were up by 6 points with 25 seconds left and possession of the basketball in the fourth quarter of Game 3. It should have been 2-1 at that point. They barfed all over themselves, which led to the Lakers tying the game, then winning it in overtime to go up to this 3-0 lead. Then, of course, Houston blew LA out in Houston in Game 4 to stave off elimination. Most of the world, including me, had written them off coming into this game because Kevin Durant was tossle capped up for yet another game in this series. 6 games played, 5 games with KD in a tossle cap on the sideline. And I'm sorry, 5 games. This was 3-2 now. Sorry. It is 1 a.m. on the East Coast, where me and moderator Gary, who by the way is here tonight, more from him in a moment. But yes, KD has played in all of 1 game this series. Of course, a game he choked away at the end. He scored only 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting in the second half of his lone appearance in this series. And the Rockets just have played minuscule down the stretch in a multitude of games now in this series, but tonight wasn't one. It certainly looked like it was going to be. The Rockets had controlled this game for the entirety of the second half, up by double digits or flirting with a double-digit lead for most of the second half, vacillating between like a 9 to 12-point lead for the vast majority of it. And yet the Lakers come roaring back in the fourth quarter on the strength of an 11-1 run to close to a 3-point Rockets lead with 3 minutes to go. But that's when Reed Sheppard would take over, of all people. Reed Sheppard with a clutch jumper fighting up against the end of the shot clock on the Rockets' ensuing possession to push that lead back to 5. Then he stripped LeBron James at the other end at the top of the key, and he would finish it at the other end to put the Rockets back up 7 with about 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And from there, for once, the Rockets would hold on and not barf this game away. Now it is 3-2 Lakers all of a sudden, just 3-0 obviously. And game 6, the big game 6 now looming, I believe it is on Friday night in H-Town. So Houston, I haven't looked at the line yet, but I would anticipate that the Houston Rockets, who again have looked like the better team for back-to-back games now, will open as some level of a favorite at home to force a game 7, which will be played on Sunday in Crypto.com Arena, the Crypt, as they call it. It will forever be Staples Center in my mind, but that game would be played out on Sunday. If Houston can secure yet another win, a third straight win after going down 3-0 again, it would be rarefied air if they could even get into a game 7. On the night tonight for the Houston Rockets, again, not a very deep rotation. They play only 8 guys for the whole game. Is a very limited rotation for Ime Udoka. Obviously, they're missing 3 starters essentially to start the year. Their point guard, Fred VanVleet, their center, Steven Adams, and Kevin Durant, who is missing, I think he missed his 4th game, I guess, of this series. And that would be on the heels of a regular season that saw him miss only 4 games in the regular season. So 4 games missed for KD in the regular season, now 4 games missed for him in the playoffs. And the first game, a baffling late last-second deactivation for him with some phantom injury that no one had really heard anything about. He then came back in game 2, played lousy, and he's been sitting out ever since with some fake ankle injury. It was diagnosed as a sprained ankle right before, I think it was game 3. And now since then, there's word, in the days that would follow that game, now it's all of a sudden a bone bruise in the ankle. Again, we have no idea when he sustained this injury. It was never spoken about during the game or after the game the one game that he appeared in this series. So who knows what the hell's going on with KD? And yet still, the Rockets realistically should be up 3-2 in this series. If they didn't, again, barf all over themselves in game 3, it would be 3-2 Houston right now. The Lakers really fortunate to have 2 more looks at closing this out. They got Austin Reeves back tonight. He looked great in the first half, not so good as the game trailed on. You could, of course, probably dismiss that to rust and his conditioning not being quite what it should be. He missed 4 weeks exactly with that grade 2 oblique strain, which he sustained in that epic biblical ass beating against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe it was on April 2nd. So he's been out for 4 weeks. Luka Doncic got hurt in that same game. He remains out, and it does not seem as if Luka will be rushing back, even if forced into a game 7 here, if the Lakers are forced into a game 7 on Sunday. But Reeves is back. Like I said, good first half. For the game, though, not good. I believe he's 4 of 16. 4 of 16, 22 points for him. As always, AR gets to the free throw line. He, along with, SGA and Denny Avdia, are some of the best at drawing the foul and getting to the line. And AR did make 12 of his 13 free throws tonight. Also had 6 assists. LeBron James, a bit of a mixed bag, obviously, for him. 25 points. He was okay in the fourth quarter. He made some driving layups, attacking the basket. He also had some bad turnovers. I mentioned the one that Reed Shepherd stripped him with the Lakers down 5 with about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. LeBron turned it over at the top of the key to Reed Shepherd, who then pushed the Rockets lead to 7. LeBron also then had a great look at 3 to cut the Rockets lead to 1 with about 12 seconds to go, and he just barely drew iron on that. Just a straight brick off the front rim, almost an air ball. But LeBron did not shoot altogether that well from the field tonight. 9 of 20. Now he is shooting pretty well below 50% on the series, which, again, for basically the entire second half of LeBron James's career, both in the regular season and the postseason, the second half of a career that's running 23 years long now, he's, typically well over 50%, 53, 55, 56%. So to see him down around 45, 46% now for the series, odd for him. Again, the Lakers are looking to get a little bit healthier now with Austin Reeves back. Kevin Durant, it's already been announced. They were already talking about it during this game that he is more than likely out no matter what. So even with the Rockets extending their season, it does not seem as if KD will be coming back in Game 6. And I don't really know what he has to gain if he comes back in a Game 7. If I were KD at this point, his legacy has already taken enough of a blow throughout the course of this series. You certainly don't want Houston to win 3 straight after losing 3 straight, force a Game 7, then KD come back and they lose that game with him in on Sunday in Los Angeles. So my expectation is Kevin Durant will not be making an appearance the remainder of this series, no matter how long it goes now at this point. But this just kind of is the way that it does go for the LA Lakers when you get that regression back to the mean, or back to the norm, I should say, for them. The players not playing outside of their minds anymore, because look, Houston was a good regular season defense. They were a top 10 net rated defense all season long. They were actually top 4 or 5 for a large stretch of the season. But and the Lakers were shooting out of their minds early in this series, really up through Game 3. You had Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart both scoring 20 points per game and shooting over 50% from the field, over 65% true shooting percentage at that point. Rui Hachimura was also shooting over 65% true shooting. You still have DeAndre Ayton well over 50%, averaging a double-double. He had a big game tonight. Ayton was arguably the best player for the LA Lakers tonight. He had 18 points and 17 rebounds. The +2 for him. Rui Hachimura tonight, 12 points, +5. Those were the only Lakers in the plus category, or the plus column on the plus-minus scale. Rui Hachimura and DeAndre Ayton +5 and +2. LeBron James -5. Marcus Smart -7. Luke Kennard with 1 point. He missed one of the 2 free throws he attempted and missed all 4 of his shots. Do you remember, are you old enough to remember when Luke Kennard was dropping 27 in Game 1 and 23 in Game 2 on like 70% true shooting and like 65 plus from the three-point line? I'm old enough to remember that. He then had 14 points in Game 3, then just 7 last game, and now 0. It is moving in the wrong direction for old Luke Kennard, and even Marcus Smart, who was terrific. After Game 4 of the playoffs, Marcus Smart was leading the league in the postseason in value over replacement. He is coming back down to earth now as well. 11 points tonight on 3 of 7 for him shooting, and just 3 for 7, I should say, from the three-point line. 0 for 2 for Kennard. And really, that was the story. The Lakers team defense coming out of nowhere at the beginning part of this series, and then their role players playing and shooting out of their freaking minds. And, of course, all of that has now come back to earth. And the Houston Rockets, even without 3 starters, this isn't talked about enough, because Fred VanVleet, his loss has been so impactful to the Rockets all season long. I think this would have been a different trajectory for this team, both now in the playoffs and the regular season, what their ceiling would have been in this postseason had Fred VanVleet played this season. He tore his ACL in July, was never available. So the Rockets been trying to figure it out all season long, basically. Amen Thompson, a great defender, a great young player overall, not necessarily a floor general or a true point. Reed Shepherd has had moments, but that's really been one of the biggest things about the Rockets and why they've underachieved and why they've struggled in the half court is because of just that lack of a true floor general. Then, of course, they also lost Steven Adams mid-season, their starting center, and now no Kevin Durant. But even with 3 starters out, you can see the overall athleticism, defensive talent of the Houston Rockets. And like I said, they will open as a modest favorite, I'm certain, on Friday in Houston to try to force a Game 7 here. And we'll just see. You know, the Lakers are trying to avoid history now, trying to add a 1 before the 160. 160-0 right now are teams that take a 3-0 lead. If Houston is able to get 2 more wins, it will be 1-160 on GOAT LeBron James's watch. You hate to see it, guys. You hate to see it, obviously. Welcome in, though, to everyone that has joined us here. Looks like we're around 600 people here in the old live stream, Skap Live After Dark. The waters are always warm here, guys, as you know. I appreciate you all being here. It looks like a lot of activity here in the live chat area. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. Some super chats already lined up. We will get into those, I promise, as always. As is always the case, I will read every single one and respond to every single one of those before I sign out. But first, there are some other things to attend to, some other bits of business. And we will talk more about the Lakers, of course, and LeBron James and what's happening in this series. We can look ahead to tomorrow night's big-time Game 6s. There is a slate of 3 massive Game 6s on the queue for tomorrow. But there were 2 other games in the association tonight. Really not surprising at all, in my estimation. Cleveland gets the win after they go up 2-0 in impressive fashion. Then they lose 2 straight in Toronto. I liked Cleveland tonight. I certainly didn't think Toronto would put up as much of a fight as they did in this game. I do believe Brandon Ingram, yes, he unfortunately played in only 11 minutes, so he got hurt. So even without him, they still put up a good fight here. Look, this was kind of a rally by Cleveland, won the fourth quarter 25-17 to win this game 125-120. And look, I am as quick to impugn, mock, ridicule little game James Harden as anybody. This guy is just a prolific playoff pants pooper, one of the all-time legendary choke artists when it comes to April, May, and June. And look, he was on schedule in this series. After a magnificent games 1 and 2, he goes on the road in Toronto and in back-to-back games records more turnovers than made field goals as Cleveland loses those back-to-back games, as I mentioned, to get tied even at 2-2 in this series. But tonight, in this game, little game James was big game James, because he, to me, was the best player on the floor for the Cleveland Cavaliers for much of the night. 23 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 4 of 18 from 3, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and a game best for the starters anyway, plus 10 on the plus-minus scale. Everybody else in the starting lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers were a minus, other than Max Strus was 0, but Donovan Mitchell minus 9, Jarrett Allen minus 4, Evan Mobley minus 2. James Harden, the steadying guy, the steadying influence for the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, plus 10 for little game James, coming up big, a rare big-time performance in a postseason game for him. So the Cleveland Cavaliers now have the Raptors on the brink of elimination. This game will shift back to Toronto for Game 6, and Cleveland will see if they can close out this game, this series. We'll get the news. Brandon Ingram, I mentioned, got hurt, 11 minutes played. I think it was a heel injury, so some foot injury of some sort. Who knows? In today's NBA, look, I don't remember all of these massively impactful injuries basically the entire time I was growing up watching the NBA. But in today's NBA, everybody seems to be getting hurt in every series. So we'll see what the prognosis or the diagnosis is on Brandon Ingram and that heel injury, see if he can get right or get ready for Game 6 to try to keep Toronto's season alive and force a Game 7 in Cleveland. Speaking of forcing another game, staying alive, the Detroit Pistons, who were looking to make some unenviable history themselves coming into tonight, as they were down 3-1 in this series to the 8th seed, the Miami Heat, the 8th seed, who won 45 games in the regular season, 45-37 for the Orlando Magic, and the Detroit Pistons, a 60-win team, 60-22. They found themselves in a 1-3 hole, and history is not kind to teams that go down 3-1 either. You know, I mentioned it's 160-0 for teams that go up 3-0. Well, I believe it is 258-13 is the record for teams that go up 3-1. So it is also very rare to see a 3-1 comeback or a 1-3 comeback, whichever way you want to look at it. But the Pistons obviously just take a one game at a time approach tonight at home, where they are 30-9, or they were 30-9 at home to this point, 31-9, I should say, at home this season. So they finally, their offense wakes up a bit tonight. Orlando had been stymieing them all series long. Orlando holding them to 100 points, 100.3 was the Magic's net defensive rating, I should say, coming into this game. The number one net rated defense in the postseason, the Orlando Magic, coming into tonight's game. But finally, the Pistons get loose a little bit. They shot, I think, 48%. 49% from the field, 36% from the three-point line. Got a couple other contributions tonight. Tobias Harris over me. Yes, Tobias Harris, a nice little performance, 23 points for him on 9 of 18. But look, tonight was all about for the Detroit Pistons. They're all everything. Their MVP candidate, first-team All-NBA, Cade Cunningham. Just a massive game from him with his back against the wall, down 3-1 in the series. 45 points, 13 of 23 from the field, 5 of 8 from the three-point line, 14 of 14 from the free throw line, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Cade did a little bit of everything tonight, and he was terrific. But not to be outdone, his opponent on the other end of things, Paolo Banchero, with a 45 spot of his own on 17 of 31 shooting from the field, 6 of 11 from 3. A very grotesque looking free throw performance from Paolo Banchero, 5 of 12 from the free throw line, or else that could have been a 50 spot for Paolo Banchero. But nonetheless, dueling 45s in a playoff game, only the second time in NBA history that has happened. And these are the back-to-back number one overall picks in the NBA draft in 2021 and 2022. So just a terrific back and forth between those two, and what has been a very, very competitive series between the 1 and the 8 in this one. But Detroit tonight, again, on the strength of Cade Cunningham, 116-109. They live to fight another day in this series. And that other day will be, I believe, on Friday as well in Orlando. The Magic with an opportunity. Again, they will have 3 straight chances ultimately to close out the 60-win 1 seed. But if it's me, obviously, you want to get that win in Orlando, because if you lose back-to-back, it's going to entail the prospect of trying to win a Game 7 in Detroit. So Orlando will likely funnel everything they have into that one. Franz Wagner did not play in this game. He had some, I believe he has a dreaded soft tissue injury. I think he had some kind of calf strain or something like that. Basically, when you hear calf or hamstring strain, it's not good. We're talking weeks generally, or, like a ruptured Achilles if you tried to play through it. So Wagner did not go tonight, and his availability is much in doubt now for Game 6. But still, even without him, Orlando put up a very good fight tonight. Desmond Bane with 18 points, Jalen Suggs with 10. 19 points off the bench for Anthony Black on 7 of 12 shooting. So just again, we are in the first round of the NBA playoffs. It's basically 2 or 3 games every single night. Another exhilarating little slate of action tonight. Every team basically that had to staving off elimination again in the Houston Rockets and the Detroit Pistons, while the Cavaliers again take command of the series 3-2. Guys, welcome into you. It is 1:25 now on the East Coast, where I do come out of live along with moderator Gary. Shout out. What's up, brother? Say hi to everybody, Gary.
Hey, how is it going, everyone? And I'm not sure if you pointed this out, but just a fun nugget here. LeBron James, not only was he 9 of 20 tonight, but 0 for 6 from the three-point line. And he missed 3 free throws, which could have been useful. If he had made one of those threes and 1 to 2 of those free throws he missed, Lakers could have won. Now, that's not something I would expect from my GOAT.
Yeah, Gare. I guess there's a term. As much of an avid NBA watcher and basketball watcher as I've been my whole life, and I've been around the game for 30 years, I never really heard the term laser to define or describe a three-point shooter until LeBron a few years ago, after like game 4 or game 5 of one of the seasons, he was already trashing his teammates and throwing them under the bus. And he said, we don't have a lot of lasers here. And I hear JJ, of course, LeBron's former podcast wine-sipping co-host and bestie, JJ Redick uses the term very often as well to define or describe a good three-point shooter or a good three-point shooting outing. They were a laser from outside. Yes, LeBron James is no laser, Gary. 0 of 6 tonight from the three-point line, including, I mentioned, ball in hand. LeBron brings it up, down 4, 12 seconds left, gets a good look at 3, right off the very tip of the front rim. But hey, shout out and kudos to the fake GOAT, the choke GOAT, LeBron, for at least having the stones to get that attempt up and not, quote unquote, making the right basketball play and offloading that pass. There was some other news made about LeBron James, honestly, today. I haven't seen, I've read the interview, or I've read the transcripts of the interview. I haven't unpacked. I was hoping I could find some kind of an audio of it, or I don't know if it was an audio interview or if it was on, if it was recorded or not, if there were cameras rolling. But LeBron did a pretty extensive interview that was published today on ESPN.com, where he was talking, or I guess whining and complaining again about the GOAT case and the GOAT argument, and comparing himself to Michael Jordan, and talking about the things that Michael Jordan does better than him and the things that he does better than Michael Jordan, et cetera, et cetera. I'm so sick and tired of hearing this guy continually just plugging himself and insinuating himself in the GOAT case. That's something that other people are supposed to do. So we can get into that as well if anybody wants to talk about that. I might get into some of that later on. There was also some interesting comments made by Shaquille O'Neal about Victor Wembanyama, who after the game last night, the Spurs, of course, take care of business 4-1. They get out of the first round in 5, a nice, tidy, neat series for them. The only one game they lost was the game that Wemby went out after 11 minutes with a concussion. And of course, the Spurs still controlled that game for most of the game. They were up 14 midway through the fourth quarter, but business-like approach for the Spurs last night. They eliminate Portland 4-1. After the game, Shaquille O'Neal said that Victor Wembanyama might be the first perfect big man ever. So we can get into that. Gary, I maybe get your thoughts on that as well, as a big Spurs fan that you are. We've got now 656 people in here. Welcome to all of you guys. Welcome in. I do appreciate having every last one of you here. Speaking of the Spurs and getting out in 5, real quick, Gary, I see you want to add. Go ahead, Gary. What do you got?
Yeah, I wanted to add something before we transition to another topic. I'm not sure if you covered this. I don't recall you saying this, but let me go ahead and spew it out here. Luke Kennard tonight, in 31 minutes, had 1 point on 0 for 4 field goals, 0 for 2 3-pointers. I think Luke Kennard has come back down to earth.
Yeah, I mentioned him a little bit in my open. Yeah, it's been moving in the wrong direction for him. Basically, the whole series, 27 in game 1, 23 in game 2, 14 in game 3, 7 last game, and now 0 in this game. Gary, luckily for Luke, you can't get a negative point in basketball because by that trajectory, you would think that like next game he would have like -5 points if he could achieve that. So yeah, Luke, we'll see. It's obviously now in his head. He's probably got the yips now at this point. They might want to move him out of the starting. They probably will. Obviously, he started tonight, and Austin Reeves came off the bench, but Reeves then started the second half. I think Luke Kennard will be relegated now to the bench, and Austin Reeves will be in the starting lineup moving forward. But yeah, real quick, one point I wanted to make on the Spurs getting out in 5. This was a very interesting tidbit I caught on the interwebs, and I went and checked it out and confirmed. In the last 12 NBA years, so the last 12 postseasons, the team that ultimately went on to win the NBA championship that season, so 12 consecutive champions, none of them have played more than 5 games in the first round. So if you are playing a game 6 or beyond, essentially, you have no chance to win the NBA championship this year. That is what recent history would indicate. So look, the Lakers had a shot to do it tonight. The Magic had a shot to do it tonight. Neither did. There is only 2 teams now that fit those parameters because Boston is playing like a bunch of bums. We can get into them. What a pathetic and disgusting performance by them last night. Just a disgusting act by them last night. 2 games now, 2 in one series where they are favored by 10 or more at home, and they've lost by 10 or more. Just disgusting, low character performances by them. They obliterate Philly in game 1 by 32. They're favored by like 13.5. Then in game 2, lose by 15. Then they go back, wrestle back control in Philly, win both because they are the best team in the East by far when they actually decide to play like it. And to me, they might be the best or second best team in the NBA. They're at least the 3rd best team in the NBA when they want to play like it. They come back home then with a chance to close out Philly as 11.5 point favorites and lose that game by 15 yesterday. Just a pathetic, disgusting performance by them. Their second pathetic, disgusting performance. And I talked about that a lot last year with the Thunder. Maybe that's not going to be the case with OKC this year because they took care of business rapidly in their first round series, 4-0 against Phoenix. They should 4-0 whatever team crawls out of this series between the Lakers and the Rockets. They should 4-0 that one. Then they should likely 4-1 the Nuggets if it is them, which we know it won't be. It will be the Spurs and the WCF then, and that will be a true dogfight. We're going to learn a lot about both those teams, the Spurs and the Thunder, in the Western Conference Finals. But last year, the Thunder just played around with their food. They should have lost 2 or 3 games all postseason last year. They got taken 7 twice to a superior, a vastly inferior opponent, I should say, in the Denver Nuggets. And then the Indiana Pacers in the finals, just mind-boggling that they got drawn 7 in those. But that looks to be the Boston Celtics this season. And the common thread with OKC last year and Boston this year, too big to fail. These teams are so stacked and loaded that they can play literally their B-plus game and still be unbeatable. Like, basically, they could beat any team in the NBA with their B-plus game. So why not roll out their D-minus game a few games in the series and just keep their opponent alive? That's what Boston did yesterday. But also what Boston did is assure that their first-round opening series goes beyond 5. So again, recent history would indicate, Gary, there are 2 teams that could win the NBA championship this year, 2 and only 2. That would be the Spurs, your Spurs, or the Oklahoma City Thunder. I see you poo-pooing my stat here and shrugging it off. So let me let you in. Do you have something to add to this kind of crazy factoid, if you ask me. The last 12 straight champions in a row did not go beyond game 5 in the opening round.
I was just going to say, because you're talking about how bad Boston is, and I would love to pile on Boston, but they were not accounting that Joel Embiid was going to be healthy, because when he's healthy, the Sixers are not your typical 7 seed. Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, and Edgecombe, that's a good roster. So now I of course think Boston's going to win the series, but them losing a game, I'm not going to just dump all over Boston, because that's a good when Embiid's first game back, he was clearly rusty. He's found a rhythm. And if he goes back to a rhythm in game 6, they had the potential to push it to game 7, in which I would think Boston would win in game 7. But I'm just getting at, I don't think that Boston's necessarily horrible for losing to a stacked roster, especially we weren't anticipating on a healthy Joel Embiid.
Sorry. Gary, speaking of stacked rosters, the Boston Celtics have the best 1-2 punch in the NBA. They have the best duo by far. They have a guy in Jason Tatum who's made 4 consecutive first-team All-NBA selections coming into this year, which he didn't play practically the entire year because of that ruptured Achilles. Jaylen Brown, who in my estimation should be first-team All-NBA this year. He won't be. He'll be second-team. But still, you've got 2 first-team caliber All-NBA players in their primes right now, and Tatum looks to be showing no ill effects of that Achilles from about a year ago. They've got the second best net rated bench in the NBA. They have the 3rd net rated defense in the NBA. They gave up the fewest points to their opponents this year in the NBA during the regular season. They are by far, to me, the best team in the Eastern Conference, regardless of what Philly does or their health. Boston was up at the end of 3 last game at home with a chance to close out, and they got waxed 28-11 in the 4th quarter. Like, inexcusable. I don't care who they have. Joel Embiid, they could have Michael Jordan on the floor. Well, maybe not. Maybe if it was Michael Jordan. But they could, anybody else they want to put on the floor, they shouldn't be beating the crap out of the Celtics 28-11 in the 4th quarter in the Garden to close that series out. I hated that 4th quarter effort by Boston. They just mailed it in. Yes, kudos to Embiid with the turn back the clock kind of game. I think he had 33 points on 13 of 23 shooting, 8 assists and 4 rebounds, if my memory serves me right, in like 33 or 34 minutes. 4 rebounds for a 7-foot center in 33 minutes is a little puzzling to me, but still, nonetheless, you're right. He had a huge game, and credit to Embiid for. Look, I talk a lot of junk on Embiid, and a lot of people do, about his health, his availability, his inability to play. He obviously is never going to be 100% ever again in his career. He played only half the games this year. He had an emergency appendectomy like 3.5 weeks ago-ish, and he absolutely was dominant in his minutes last game. And the Celtics are going to have to account for him and maybe switch up their lineup and bring in a little more size to account, because Boston likes to play a little bit smaller. And that's one of the strengths of their defense. A lot of stuff in today's NBA, Gary, is like small ball, speed, athleticism, like turning your opponent over, getting in transition, shooting a bunch of threes. So and that Boston that definitely does fall into that kind of depiction. So they're going to have to maybe make some adjustments from a lineup standpoint to get some more size in to try to combat Embiid, because he was a pretty dominant force for them. You are right about that, but still, as great as Embiid can be when he's on the floor, and yes, I get it, Paul George too, and I do think the world of Maxey. The Sixers still, just to me, they don't have enough, and they shouldn't have enough to compete with these Celtics now at relative health and strength. But we'll see. We'll see what the next game. I do believe that game 6. I teased that there are a slate of game 6s tomorrow, which are huge games across the board. Knicks at Atlanta now, looking to win 3 straight in that series and close that one out. Boston now in Philly, looking to close that one out. And then Denver in Minnesota just trying to stay alive, just trying to fight off elimination one more time and get it back to Denver in Game 7. So those games are all on the slate for tomorrow. The Knicks at 7 on ESPN, 8 o'clock on Peacock, Boston and Philly, and then 9:30 Denver and Minnesota. Gary, we are now at the 40-minute mark here of the live stream here. Again, if you are just joining us, we've got 650 in here in the room right now. Skap Live After Dark. Welcome to all of you. Love having all of you. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to moderator Gary, who is on hand as well. We've got some super chats to attend to here at the 40-minute mark. So let's go ahead and start with those. Gary, go ahead. We've got at Bricola Jokic. Oh, we've got an anti Jokic handle here and avatar. Bricola Jokic is in with the avatar. If you guys can't see it, is a literal traffic cone with a number 15 jersey and Nikola Jokic's face on it. So welcome into you, Bricola. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the live stream here. And Gary, what is the question or comment about from Bricola?
Worry about your Nuggets, Skap. Lakers in 6.
I am worried about my Nuggets, Bricola. We can talk about that later if we want. Gary and I have been bickering about that all day. I am and have been worried. I've been worried about my Nuggets since they decided to not go 11-1 in their last 12 games and instead go 12-0 because they would have the Rockets right now instead of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it would be your Lakers, Bricola, that was worried about the Minnesota Timberwolves. And quite frankly, the Lakers would already be out of the playoffs by now if they were the ones that were worrying about the T-Wolves. But Bricola, I don't know if your Lake show is going to be able to get it done in 6. I wouldn't be counting on it if I were you. I've been saying I wanted to check the line. Let me check it real quick. Rockets open at -3.5 now for the game on Friday. And that game will be in Houston at 9:30 on Amazon Prime. So I don't know, Bricola. I think your Lake show might be heading to a Game 7, which is where I hope my Nuggets are headed to, but I don't necessarily see that happening. Again, we could talk about that maybe a little later on here in the stream and set that up. But first, we've got Jake Koning in. What's up, Jake? Welcome in, a regular. Always happy to see you here and thankful for your support. Gary, what is the question or comment from Jake?
Hey, Skap, would being the first player in NBA history to blow a 3-0 lead be the perfect cherry on top of LeBron's legacy? That pairs well with 3.5 titles in 23 seasons on all those super teams.
Yeah, Jake, that certainly would be a devastating blow to LeBron James's legacy. Now, I know what Bricola Jokic, the guy from above, the last super chat, who obviously hates Nikola Jokic and loves his Lake show, probably because Jokic humiliated his Lakers in back-to-back postseasons, a sweep and a gentleman's sweep back-to-back, by the way. But yeah, I could hear all of the LeBron sycophants, bootlickers, and jock sniffers out there just talking about, oh, come on, no Luka Doncic. He's 41 years old. Yes, but if the Lakers win this series, the narrative will be, oh, look, no Luka Doncic, and he's 41 years old, the GOAT. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you can't have it one way and not the other, if you're going to rub oils on yourself and twerk all over the internet about LeBron James being the GOAT if he wins this series at 41, then if he blows this series up 3-0 at 41, that also is a story. That also is going to be applied. And quite frankly, I don't think there was any shame in losing this series for LeBron and the Lakers when the series began, particularly with no Reeves or Luka Doncic. But now that they take the 3-0 lead, now that they get Austin Reeves back up 3-1, if they go on to lose 4 straight games with Austin Reeves playing in 3 of them, yeah, that's going to apply negatively to LeBron James's legacy. It absolutely will be factored in. The guy has already been swept like a monumental amount of times. I believe he has the most series sweeps. In fact, him being swept is what I'm talking about, other than Shaquille O'Neal and Pau Gasol, 2 guys who routinely get credited for carrying Kobe, but really it was Kobe carrying them. 2 dudes that were just getting swept every year without Kobe Bryant. Yeah, other than that, LeBron is right up there as the most swept player in NBA history. And if we can go ahead and add a 0-3 or a 3-0 blown series lead, the first and only team in NBA history to do it, yeah, just the chinks of the armor of the LeBron GOAT case are evaporating before our very eyes here. Great point, Jake. I obviously would love to see it. Although part of me is conflicted, I have to admit. Part of me is sitting back here and saying, do I really want the Lakers to go out like this? Would I rather have them stomped by Oklahoma City, like lose every game by 30 points? Like the worst beating in NBA history, maybe. Like a 4-0 sweep job and like a 30-point per game margin of differential. Would that be the better out for LeBron and Lakers this year? Or would it be blowing the 3-0 lead, the first team ever in NBA history? I don't know. I'm conflicted. I'm very torn. Either way, it's like a win-win for me. Like either the Lakers make history the wrong kind of history, or again, they get absolutely eviscerated in the second round. I can't lose here, honestly. Take that to the bank, Bricola Jokic. I hope you enjoy that and watching that in the second round. Next in, we've got Willin8664. Will, another regular. Thank you and welcome. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you, Gary. What does Will have for us?
Was nice of Wemby to give himself a concussion so that the Blazers can get 1 win. A true gentleman.
Yeah, Wemby now in his first full NBA playoff series. Again, off the top of my head, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks per game. But he missed 1 game, basically all of 1 game. He played only 11 minutes in 1 game. So if you remove that 1 game where he didn't play, basically the 3 full games that he played in, 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 blocks per game. 26, 11, and 5 on, I don't know, like 57, 58% shooting. Didn't even play that many minutes. Obviously, just a total floor riser on both sides of the floor. An elite player already at the age of 22. Top 3 player in the NBA right now. Look, I've been an ardent supporter and defender of Nikola Jokic. I think he has been the best player without comparison or close peer or rival for 6 years. But if he goes out poorly in one of these last 2 games, injuries or not, I don't know what's going on with him. He does not look like the same guy that we saw in the first half of this season, even that we saw in the last like 12 games of the season. Doesn't look like the same guy that has plagued Rudy Gobert largely for Rudy's entire career and their playoff career against each other. If he goes out poorly in one of these last 2 games, I think the title for best player on earth might be up for grabs, and it will be decided in the Western Conference Finals between Victor Wembanyama and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And to be able to say that about a 22-year-old is wild. Like, I think going into next year, the massive favorite for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year will be Wembanyama. The voters have already decided Nikola Jokic will never win another MVP. Never. So like he could average 35, 15, and 15 next year, and the Nuggets could win 70 games, and Jokic, I don't think, would win MVP. Like they've already decided he's done at 3. And obviously the Nuggets aren't going to do that anyway next year. Shai will not get 3 straight. I don't care what he does. He could lead the league in scoring, and they could win 70 games, and they're not giving him 3 straight. So that leaves Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama as the massive favorites to me to be next year's league MVP. I think it will be Wemby, and he'll run away with it. So next year at the age of 23, think about this. Victor Wembanyama, I think the Spurs will win like upper 60s, probably like 67 to 70 games. They won, I think it was 62 this year, and they really didn't play all that well the first half of the year. They ended the year 30-4 in the regular season, and it was 30-1 against every team but the Denver Nuggets, actually. They were 0-3 against the Nuggets. So extrapolating that out into next year, I think they win 67, 69, maybe 70 games. Victor Wembanyama wins MVP and Defensive Player of the Year at 23. Like, has there ever been a 23-year-old that we could say was the best player on the planet? Like, I know some people would say, oh, maybe LeBron. No, it was Kobe for sure. Like, even if LeBron was in the mix, he wasn't the guy. Some people might say Jordan. Like, Jordan came in, I think 23. He came in at 21. He was rookie year 22. He broke his foot in 23. So not even Jordan. Like, and then in his third year, 24, he wasn't winning MVPs. He might have been leading the league in PER, BPM, VORP, win share. He might have been leading the league in all those things by 24, but he wasn't winning all these awards. If Victor Wembanyama is the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP in the same season, that's only been done twice ever. Jordan once in 87, Akeem in 94, 95. So just twice ever. If he becomes the third guy at 23 to do it, and then, like I said, upper 60s wins, if he wins the title, and he will obviously be the finals MVP, just looking ahead, like, that would be, no one's done that other than Akeem that 1 year 95, and Wembanyama will have an opportunity next year to do it at 23. So it's just crazy. I know Gary is just sitting there with a big smile on his face because he's a big Spurs guy, and Wemby, the only thing that can stop this guy is injury and inavailability. That's still the one concern. He had foot injury issues coming in. He played 70 his rookie year, no problem. But then only like 40-ish last year with that deep vein thrombosis blood clot situation. And then this year, 65 games. No single impactful injury, but like 65 games played only. Like, he still barely got eligibility for those awards. So to me, that still is the one concern that I would still be holding my breath on with him. That's presumptively the only thing that can stop this guy from a slam dunk top 10 case, like, all time. Like, you could see it coming from like miles and miles away. Like, this guy's going to have, if he does play like enough games over the next 10 to 12 years, he's going to have like 4 or 5 MVPs, probably 5 or 6 Defensive Player of the Years, multiple championships. So, and it could start as soon as this year. They're way ahead of schedule. Anyway, sorry to get off on a tangent on Victor Wembanyama. Gary, is there anything you want to add, by the way, since that is your guy and your Spurs? No? Okay. Next in then, Gary, we've got Johnny Keene, 37. What's up, Johnny? Thanks for being here. Thanks for the support. Gary, what is the question or comment from Johnny tonight?
Skap, would be amazing if they lose from here. Praying for the Rockets.
Yeah, Johnny, it would be hilarious. It would be amazing. It would be hilarious. LeBron James has a chance to do one of the funniest things in NBA history. Of course, he doesn't want to do it, choking away a 3-0 series lead. Again, I've covered this in excess tonight. 3-0 leads all time, 160-0. LeBron could do it, 1-160. The Rockets tonight, again, become just the 16th team ever of the 160 to get it even into a game 6. I will at some point check and confirm my numbers. I think 8 have forced it to Gary, maybe you could check that out for me. How many teams have come back to force a game 7 when they're down 3-0? I want to say it's 8. So 8 of 160. You can just give me a thumbs up if it is 8, Gary, or correct me if it isn't. Yeah,
I'm looking it up. I do remember the Nuggets and Jazz in the 95 playoffs. I remember the Nuggets pushing the Jazz to a game 7 after being down 3-0, but ultimately the Jazz edged them out and won. I'll look it up though.
And I remember I want to say the Mavericks were involved in one where they were down 0-3, or they were up 3-0. I think the Mavericks were up 3-0 and got forced to a game 7. And then, of course, I talked about at the top of this live stream, I talked about the Celtics forcing a game 7 against the Heat when they were down 0-3 in 2023. So that was recently, but it hasn't been done very often. I think it's less than 10. I know that. I want to say the Celtics were the 7th or 8th team to do it when they were down 3-0. But Gary's going to fact check that for me. Yes, if LeBron were to blow this one, it would be the only time that a team has gone on to lose it altogether. Go ahead, Gary.
According to Wikipedia here, it's only been 4 times. In 1951 NBA Finals, the Knicks and the Rochester Royals. 94, the Nuggets and Jazz, as I just mentioned. And then in 2003, what you just mentioned, the Trailblazers and the Mavericks winning that. And then in 2023, the Celtics and Miami Heat winning that.
Wow. So even rarer than I thought. I knew it was under 10, but it's under 5. Only 4 times. The Heat became just the Celtics became just the 4th team ever to do it in 2023. So that will be a wild story in and of its own right. If the Lakers lose at Houston on Friday as 3.5-point underdogs, which you would expect them to be, that would be the 5th time ever that a team got it out of 160 tries throughout all rounds in NBA history. That's a crazy fact. And obviously it will be the only time that a team blows it out of 160. If the Rockets come all the way back, Johnny, it would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? Wolfsbane is in next. Another regular Wolfsbane. Welcome in as always. Thank you for being here. Gary, what is the question or comment from him tonight?
Hey, Skap, what do you think the Hawks need to be more of a contender next year? I think they need a center, a better backcourt, and to get rid of, and how do you pronounce his name, Skap?
Zachary Richardze, I believe.
Okay.
He's a fellow Frenchman of your boy Wemby, a countryman of your boy Wemby, Gary. He was, I believe he was, I want to say he was the number 1 overall pick the year after Wembanyama. Let me just fact check myself. Yes, he is the first overall pick in the 2024 draft.
Over Stephon Castle at number 4, which is a mistake. I didn't know he was French, though. Are you sure? I know Alex Sarr was French. This guy's French, too?
That's right. Yep. I'm on his wiki page right now. Is a French professional basketball player for the Atlanta Hawks. So yeah, he is. Yes, he was born. Actually, he was born in Spain because his father was playing professional basketball in Spain, but his family moved back to France in 2002, where he played his professional career there. So, Zachary Richardze, I believe, is the pronunciation, and in his first 2 years in the NBA. Again, I don't know what Atlanta was thinking. Maybe it was they were trying to catch lightning in the bottle. Another French player here. I don't know, but yeah, not good. Below not good for his first 2 seasons in the NBA. 11 points per game on 45% shooting from the field, 3 rebounds, 1 assist per game right now. In 75 games appeared in his rookie year, 67 games appeared in his second season. So, not a big fan, obviously, of his or that pick as the number 1 overall pick. Not so good for the Atlanta Hawks. Not turning out so well for them. I would agree with your take, Wolfsbane, on the fact that they need better center productivity, like a better big for next season. Realistically, that's the only thing I think I would change. Atlanta has been very good in the second half of the year. They were since the trade deadline when they offloaded Young and brought in McCollum, they've been, I want to say they have the 4th best net rating post trade deadline. And they were the 2nd best net rated defense post trade deadline behind only Oklahoma City. They went up 2-1 in this series. They were competitive in game 1. The Knicks held on. They won games 2 and 3 to go up 2-1. And now, look, they've lost 2 games in blowout fashion. They're at home in Atlanta tomorrow. I like Atlanta, I think, to win that game and force a game 7. Look, ultimately, the Knicks are just really good. The Knicks are a really good team. They have really good players. They're well built and established for playoff success. They have the home court advantage. I think really, yes, what your Hawks need to do is add more reliable big play next year while just playing at the level that they played post-trade deadline all year and getting one of those top 3 seed lines and not having to play a team like the Knicks in the first round. That's really all I would recommend. They got to re-up. I think McCollum's on an expiring contract. I would re-up him, though he is 34 years old. So that is puzzling because he is such a big and an instrumental part of their second half of the year turnaround and what they've done in the postseason until last game. I mean, sometimes ultimately it's just about your stars. It's a make or miss league. Like McCollum had been dominating this series coming into last game. He was averaging 25 points per game through 4 games and shooting high efficiency. Last game, I believe he had 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting. So if he just is back to being the McCollum we saw post-trade deadline and in the first 4 games of the series, I think they push it to a game 7, which could be interesting in Madison Square Garden. So I think just give this team bolster their front court, like you said, and then just give them a full year to coalesce together and see if they can get a top 3 seed line. And I think they will be a very competitive team next year. And I'm not writing them off. I think the Knicks will win it, but I'm not writing your Hawks off yet. All right, next we've got Brakola Jokic is back in. What's up, Brakola? Let's see what the question or comment is this time from him. I'm sure either a pro Lakers or anti-Nuggets comment for sure.
Even if Nuggets win, you are still exposed frauds. Well, I don't think you were ever claiming the Nuggets were anything special. You were talking about how bad they were actually and how good and historically great Nikola Jokic is from year to year. So the only one you'd be called that's you could say Skap, hey, he's a fraud would be Jokic. But even if Jokic is to have a bad series and go out, that still doesn't wipe out and cancel out everything he's done up until this point. So therefore, Brickolo, no, Jokic is actually not a fraud, and Skap never claimed the Nuggets were good.
Yeah, I get a bad rap, Gary, around the YouTube interwebs. I get a bad rap for my coverage of the Nuggets. I speak mainly about Jokic being great, not the Nuggets. I never claim that the Nuggets are good. I did say going into this postseason, I said 2 things on going in. 1, do not get Minnesota because it's a terrible matchup. I talked about it for the last week and a half of the regular season as the Nuggets were playing to the bone, coming back from like 20-point deficits to win in overtime multiple times. Like, lose one of these games. Just drop one of them. Get Houston. It's a way better matchup. And Minnesota just, it's not a good matchup for them. Like, I believe now they are, I want to say Minnesota is 17-16 now in their last 30, whatever, 5-6 games. Like, it's not a good matchup for the Nuggets. So I did not want to draw Minnesota in the first round. That obviously came to fruition in the first part of the series. The other thing that I said going into the playoffs was Denver could be a title contender. I didn't think that they were. I said going into the playoffs, even when I thought that Aaron Gordon was healthy, I said that the best 3 teams and the 3 teams most likely to win the championship this year were Oklahoma, San Antonio, and Boston. I did not put the Nuggets in that mix. I said that they could be a potential contender because of the excellence and greatness of Jokic if they were also all completely healthy. Well, Aaron Gordon is not healthy, and Aaron Gordon is a massive difference maker for that team. It's been well publicized. I don't know the exact numbers, but during the regular season, there was something like 27-9 with him or something, and like 27 and like 21 without him. Like, he is a big difference maker. I know those numbers don't add up. It's something like that. They were with Aaron Gordon this year. They were like a plus 12 net rating, and without him, they were like a plus 3. So he is a huge difference maker. He's looked like garbage every game he's played this series, other than game 1, which is the only game that the Nuggets looked good and dominated Minnesota, by the way, was the one game that Aaron Gordon looked good and healthy. After that, he's been dragging his bum leg around the floor for every game that he's appeared in. He's looked terrible. He's averaging 11 points on 40% from the field and 18% from the three-point line or something. This guy was shooting upper 50s from the field and like 39% from the three when he was actually healthy in the regular season. He ain't right. And in addition to that, Payton Watson, the other athletic difference maker that the Nuggets have that could kind of replace some of the things Aaron Gordon does if you lose him, he hasn't played a single game. So, Bricola, this is just a clown take by you, quite frankly. You're the fraud, because I never said anything otherwise. Like I said, they needed to be healthy. They're not. And I said Minnesota's a terrible matchup. They were. Now, in terms of Nikola Jokic, there's a lot of discourse around him and a lot of trolls and scrubs and losers. I'm not saying those things about you, Bricola, so I'll take you down. A lot of trolls and scrubs and losers who have been hiding in their caves and under their little rocks with no ammunition on Jokic for 6 years. Now that he has presented some ammo, now at this point, a bunch of scrub trolls are rushing out from under their rocks and their caves to try to throw their rocks now and cast stones at Jokic. Some of the criticism is fair. It is. And whether he's hurt or isn't is no excuse. He's on the floor. Therefore, the product is what the product is. And he has not been anywhere near Nikola Jokic standards for the majority of this series. But to show just how preposterous this guy is and how absurd, the series, which is now 5 games long, against one of the 3 best defensive players of this century, 4-time defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert, and a team defense that is funneled entirely to Jokic because none of his teammates are making shots. This team was the best shooting team in the NBA in the regular season, 50% from the field, 40% from 3. They are the worst shooting team of 16 teams in the postseason. So with no pressure valve or release on him at all from his teammates who are missing everything, still, with all the defense funneled in on him with the 4-time defensive player of the year as the front line, Nikola Jokic in 5 games now, 25 points per game, 14 rebounds, 9 assists per game on, yes, a very un-Jokic and inefficient 42% shooting from the field. But still, 25, 14, and 9, leading the NBA playoffs in rebounds and assists with 25 points per game. And this is the game. This is the series. This is what these scrub trolls are using to try to diminish Jokic. It's just a breathtaking thing to see. The kind of narratives being pushed about this guy, and that bum Kendrick Perkins talking about, oh, we need to look at Jokic. And if this were LeBron, we would really be criticizing LeBron. Well, let's do this, Kendrick. LeBron couldn't win shit for 7 years in Cleveland. Choked 2 years in a row as the number 1 seed in the NBA playoffs. Went and joined a top 3 player in the NBA in his prime to win 2. Then went and joined 2 perennial all-stars to win his next one. Then had another top 5 player in the NBA to win his 4th. Let's give Nikola Jokic 8 years, 7 or 8 years, with a top 5 replacement level player, the level of prime Dwayne Wade or prime healthy Anthony Davis. Let's give Nikola Jokic that and see how many rings he has. It would be more than 4, believe me. So maybe we need to adjust the criticisms and put some kind of context on it all. Go ahead, Gary. I'll tag you in.
I am the one who is big on the Nuggets. You and I have debated many times in here. I have told you this year, if they're healthy, which they're not, but if they were healthy with Gordon and Watson, and if Jamal Murray was making his shots, I said they could beat OKC or anybody. But let me tell you, I am done with Jamal Murray. I am done with him. He is the reason they're in this hole. Just watch. There's no ball movement on the Nuggets. Jamal Murray has been forcing so many low percentage shots. You are the point guard. Facilitate the ball. Find a guy who is open to take a high percentage shot. Jamal Murray has been ball hogging Denver into this hole, but Jokic is the one to take the brunt of the blame. I feel it is on Murray. I am off Murray. I have defended him for years because of what he did to the Lakers for 2 years in a row in 23 and 24. Then the next years, when he fizzled out, I said, well, you know, he wasn't 100% or he just had an off game. I'm done with all that. This guy sucks. Get rid of Jamal Murray. I'm tired of his inconsistent ass. I thought it was Michael Porter Jr., in which it was, but it turns out they're damn tag team partners in sucking and inconsistency. You got rid of Porter, but now guess what? We replaced him with a replica inconsistent shooter and Cam Johnson, who's doing a damn podcast when the playoffs start. This jackass during the play-in tournament is doing a podcast on YouTube. I'm like, what are you doing? It is playoff time. People made excuses in his comment section. Oh, well, you know, he's got a week off. Doesn't matter. Kobe Bryant did not even have a Twitter account until he retired. Why aren't you in the gym practicing your three-point shot? Because it's so inconsistent, and maybe if you had made some more shots, maybe this series could be going in a different direction. So Cam Johnson takes a little blame too, because he's also inconsistent. But Jamal Murray, game 4, I'm done. I am done with Jamal Murray. Unless Jamal Murray goes Kobe Bryant in game 6 and game 7, I am done with Jamal Murray forevermore. No more of his BS and inconsistency. I'm not standing up for him anymore. I'm actually alongside Skap. This guy is a effing bum. Trade him, cut him. Do like the Broncos did to Russell Wilson. Let him go and cut your losses. Get a vet minimum guy or something. Someone like a Chris Middleton or something. I don't know. Just get rid of Jamal Murray. He is a stain on this team, and they're likely going to lose in game 6. And watch, mark my words, watch the inconsistent shooting of Jamal Murray. Look at the box score for every game this series. He's shooting like 30-something%. If you're going to be a high-volume shooter, you need to be shooting in the 40s at the very least. So I do think Skap and I have been having some disagreements. Skap pretty much thinks it's a foregone conclusion Denver's not going to win this series. I think they can win the series, but only if Jamal Murray passes more or consistently shoots, which I don't think that's going to happen. And of course, Jokic is going to have to go into boss mode.
Let me just confirm what you're talking about there. Jamal Murray, there's a lot of narrative pushing around Jamal Murray, mainly to diminish Nikola Jokic, in my estimation, that he's some kind of elite playoff riser. And look, truth be told, in his age 22 season, his second year in the playoffs and his fourth year in the NBA, in 2019-2020, in the bubble, he was magnificent. 26.5 points per game on 50% shooting. And the young Nuggets behind Jokic and Murray, Jokic was like 24, 25, and Murray was 22. They got all the way to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble and played the Lakers, who were, that team was stacked, that LeBron James championship team in the bubble. And then the next time, we did not see Jamal Murray again after that in the bubble. We didn't see him for 2 playoff runs after that. So Jokic then the next year ascended to MVP Jokic. He wins his first MVP. And then Jamal Murray got hurt, missed both of the next 2 playoff runs. And when we saw him again in 2022-2023 in the playoffs, he was again terrific. 26 points per game on 47% shooting. The Nuggets win the NBA championship. Since then, the last 3 years, he has been a bum in the playoffs. I'm sorry, he's been trash. And people say, oh, no, it's not Murray. He's a playoff riser. It's, oh, yeah, you're just making all the excuses for Jokic. Not true. Jamal Murray is a bum in the playoffs. He just is. Since those first 2 years, or his 2020 and 2023 playoff runs. In the regular season this year, Jamal Murray had his best year ever. Ever. He had his highest scoring output ever by far, 25 points per game. His previous high, 21.4. So 4 full points above his previous career high in the regular season. That was while averaging a career high in assists, 7.1. His career high previously, 6.5. And 4.4 rebounds, again, a career high. His previous 4.1. So career highs across the board for Jamal Murray at the age of 28 in his 9th season, 25, 7, and 4 on extremely high shooting splits. 48% from the field, 44% from the three-point line, and he took a bunch. 7.5 three-point shots a game at 43.5%. Just a truly amazing regular season for Jamal Murray. A deserving all-star appearance. As someone who crushes Murray routinely, he deserves to be all-NBA this year. He should be all-NBA 13. But in the playoffs, he has regressed back to bum mode. He is shooting 37% in this series now and 27% from the three-point line. Okay, so look, I get it that Jokic hasn't been what Jokic has to be. He's been a lot better than Murray, and he's getting a lot more of the defensive focus and attention than Murray. And quite frankly, Jokic makes these guys look as good as they do look. Jokic uplifts their floor significantly, and when he isn't elite, when he isn't a 30-point triple-double on 60% shooting, well, we see what these players really and truly are. Jamal Murray, this is who he is. When he doesn't have the handoffs and he's not getting the space and the gaps and the wide open good looks from Nikola Jokic action, this is kind of what he is. And to compound matters, Jaden McDaniels is just bigger, longer, stronger than Murray, and he's just been shutting him down. So those are really the problems with the Denver Nuggets right now. But look, to criticize the Nuggets is fair because I have been for 3 years. To criticize Nikola Jokic or try to do some kind of revisionism on his last 6 years because of one series is insane to me. And to criticize his overall lack of playoff success, again, look at who this guy has. Look at his supporting cast. His team is always hurt, always, or just completely disappearing in the postseason. So, and this was the first year he's ever played with an all-star. You got this fat, bum, illiterate piece of garbage, Kendrick Perkins, sitting up here, blabbering on and on about how we need to think about this and how if this was LeBron James. Nikola Jokic has played with his first all-star ever in year 11. LeBron James was playing with 2 all-NBA caliber players in his 8th year to win his 2 championships. Get out of here. with this revisionism. It's insane. Like, go read a book, Kendrick, or learn or watch some film, do some study, get some historical analysis on what you're talking about. I can't even with the comparisons between, oh, if this was X player, we would be criticizing them. Look at the players that X player has been playing with. Like even Kevin Durant, like I'm critical of him. Like, look at the guys that Kevin Durant has played with from the word go. Like Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Like he's had all perennial all-stars around him at every twist and turn of his career. Nikola Jokic is lucky. The Nuggets are lucky that they have one championship out of this guy with the grotesque amount of supporting cast that they have put around him. Just laughable. Okay, let's see here. We got the other Bricola. Next in is just a messenger. I can never read. I think it's just a messenger 07G. I might be getting that wrong, but just a messenger. What's up? Welcome in. Thank you for the support here, Gary. What is the question or the comment here from just a messenger?
LeBron missed his last 12 threes. Kennard, only 4 shots?
Yeah, look, LeBron is not a laser. We've covered this. We've been over this in excess at the top of the show here tonight. LeBron, not a laser. We've established that. Really hasn't been a laser his entire career. His three-point shooting percentage, it does look aight for his career. It's okay. People will oftentimes talk about LeBron being a good three-point shooter. That's the path of the NBA today. Like the NBA shifted at the middle point of LeBron James' career. He shoots a lot of threes. He has a passable percentage, but overall for his career, 23 years long now, 37% shooting overall from anywhere other than 5 feet into the basket. So anything other than layups and dunks, basically, this guy's a sub-mid-30 shooter. So not a surprise from him. Luke Kennard probably should be getting more than 4 shots, especially with the way this series began for him. However, you do have Austin Reeves back now, and he's going to engulf a lot of those looks and take up a lot of those shots. He shot 22 times tonight, just 4 of 22 for Austin Reeves. Some of that could be just kind of addressed, I think, by the layoff and the rust situation. He hasn't played in 4 weeks. Go ahead, Gary.
I want to ask your opinion. I honestly thought, and I mean, I'm glad they did play Reeves. I thought they should have just let him sit out. I thought they were in a better flow without him. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, if he's back and truly healthy, and he looked good. I mean, physically, he had the burst and like his movements looked right. He looked like Austin Reeves. The shots just weren't falling. So I feel like, it's just a matter of rhythm and timing and getting his basketball legs under him. And Gary, what better time to do that than the present? I guess I hear you, but if you fail to close out with him tonight anyway, then you're still in a dogfight in Houston. Then you got to try to bring him back there, or in Game 7. I think maybe better to just get him back, let him get the rust off now, and then give him 2 more opportunities to close them out moving forward. Go ahead.
I guess what I'm getting at, I think Luke Kennard, I think he got thrown out of his rhythm. And if he had stayed in the rhythm, I think he would have given them enough production. And I honestly think they may have won tonight.
I mean, it's hard to say. I think Houston looked, they were ready from the get-go. They were in the game. It was a close game in the first half, back and forth. Little slim leads, like 1 or 2 here, 1 or 2 there for the other team. And then Houston really just took it away in the second half. I don't know. I mean, look, you got to go with your players, right? Like if they're ready, they're like, look, Aaron Gordon, he looks like trash. There's no doubt about that. They are better without Aaron Gordon at this point because he's just not right. Like if you're not healthy, you do more harm than good a lot of times, even if you're trying to do the right thing. But they're going to go with Aaron Gordon. If he's going to play, if he wants to play and he's going to want to try to suit it up and go, they're going to go with him. And I get it. You got to go with your studs ultimately. I get it. And Austin Reeves looks like he looks way better than Aaron Gordon does right now. I'll tell you that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Kennard, look, he's going back to the bench. Austin Reeves is going to start next game. I think a bigger issue is Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was so good the first like 3 games, really, and he's just not been the same in 5 games game. So going back to I'm trying to see 4. Okay, so in the first game, in game 1, he was 5 of 12 from the field. He had 15 points, 8 assists. He had 25 points in game 2, 8 of 13, 4 of 5, or 5 of 7 from 3, 7 assists again, 10 assists and 21 points in the game 3, 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. He's just falling back. In the last game, just 3 of 8 for only 9 points and only 5 assists. And then tonight, again, not good. Like a porous game from him tonight. He had just 11 points on 3 of 7 and 2 assists. So the assists are going in the wrong direction. Like, I mean, he had 8 assists, 7 assists, 10 assists in the first 3 games, then 5 assists in the last game and only 2 tonight. So, and 6 turnovers. So I think the bigger problem, look, Luke Kennard was always found money. I don't think you could have expected him to continue to score 23 points per game on 60% shooting. But Marcus Smart, you kind of thought this might be what Marcus Smart is. And if he's going to be these last 2 games, Marcus Smart, and not the first 3 games, Marcus Smart, then the Lakers are in some actual peril of losing this series and becoming the first team ever to blow that 3-0 lead. Next, model body fit. What's up, Dylan? What's up, brother? Good to see you. A regular dating back to the infancy of the Skap Live After Dark streams last year in the postseason. What's up? Still got that nice avatar of that glistening, rippled physique. What's up, Gary, from Model Body Fit tonight?
Model Body Fit. I don't know why, but I get you mixed up with Giuseppe. Model, are you a Cavaliers fan? I thought it was Giuseppe, but he confirmed he's a Miami Heat fan. Let me know in the, not a super chat, but just let me know in the chat. Are you a Cavaliers fan? I think he is.
I know Model Body Fit is in Miami. I can confirm that. I know that.
Okay. I know Giuseppe because he told me on the last one that he's a Miami Heat because I thought he was the Cavaliers fan. Anyways, I'll look for your comment, but let me go ahead and read this one. Skap, how are you, bro? Let's get it. In your opinion, did the KD slander of his teammates fracture the locker room? They're better without him anyway.
Well, they certainly have looked better the last few games. I think game 2, they looked terrible with him. KD was terrible. And then, look, game 3, they should have won that game. They easily won game 4. They win tonight. Like, they really should have won 3 straight games since KD deactivated himself with his fake phantom rogue bone bruise ankle. So they really should be 3 straight without now. They're only 2 straight, but we'll see. I think, KD is, like, he's in a tenuous spot here. Like, if the Rockets win this, he's not going to play next game. If the Rockets win it in game 6 and push it to a game 7, I mean, there's a lot of pressure from Kevin Durant to get on the court in a winner-take-all game 7 and play in I keep wanting to call it Staples Center, in Crypto.com Arena, in the Crypt. So there's a lot of pressure to get out on the floor, quote, be a man, like, oh, show the heart, like, tough it out, like, go and play. Like, there's going to be a lot of external pressure on Kevin Durant to do that. But, oh, my goodness, if they go from 3 straight games to force a game 7 and lose with KD on the floor in game 7, it's just going to be another devastating blow for KD, who's already done, I think, a lot of damage to his legacy and reputation in this series. And maybe for this entire season, you can make a case. So I don't know. It's a tough spot KD will find himself in. KD's going to sit out next game. He's probably going to be just rooting against the Rockets, quite frankly. He's probably just going to have the tassel cap on. He's going to be secretly hoping that the Rockets just lose. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how it plays out the rest of the way. But yes, they certainly have looked better the last 3 games without KD than they looked with him in that one game that he did suit up Dylan. That's a good point. I'll give you that one. We've got Alex 7E9 in. What's up, Alex? Thank you for your generous donation here in the sponsor area, I should say, of the Skap Live After Dark area. Thank you for it. I appreciate it. Gary, what is the question or comment from Alex?
Let me ask you, before I read this, because this is talking about Game 2, did you watch Game 2 or part? I only watched the first few minutes, and from what I remember, I saw KD score like 3 straight possessions in the first quarter. Am I remember that correctly? And then he fizzled out. Did he?
Yeah, hang on. I'm just gonna mute you because I'm echoing. Yeah, I believe he was 5 of 7, or something like that in the first half. 6 of 7, maybe even in the first half, and he had 20 points in the first half. Then in the second half, 1 of 3. 1 of 5, I'm sorry, for 3 points. So 20 in the first half on 6 of 7, 3 in the second on 1 of 5. Now, look, some would say that's because he got hurt somewhere along the line and that's why he isn't playing. But that wasn't mentioned ever by anybody. Like, I get if KD has class and character and doesn't want to excuse himself because of injury, but like, wouldn't one of your teammates or your coach be like, yo, KD just wasn't right in that second half. He hurt his ankle and he was hurt, and that's why it went like that. Nobody said that. Nobody to a man. And KD, I watched his entire post-game presser after Game 2. He never mentioned it. All he said was like, I was terrible in the second half. I turned it over. He had 9 turnovers. He said he turned it over. He didn't deal with double teams well. He said he has to swing quicker. He has to be more aggressive with his shot. It was all just about the adjustments he can make moving into Game 3 and how he could be better. And then randomly, like a few hours, it seemed like, before Game 3, he's like, nah, I'm out. Ankle injury. So like just a puzzling 48 hours for them with him.
He didn't look injured to you at all in the second half?
Not really.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read this and then you can continue. Cheers from Italy. I really have a feeling that this series should be already over 4-1 for Houston if it wasn't for them losing Game 3 and KD not doing his job in Game 2. Or should we say not doing his job in the second half of Game 2?
Right. Well, because it's a close game in the fourth quarter. KD was terrible. So, yeah, that's why they brought him. Like, that's why they got him, to execute in the half court and to get tough buckets down the stretch in clutch time in the fourth. So, yeah, I mean, you absolutely could say that the Rockets really could have already won this series. Now, we'll see. The degree of difficulty is high when you go down 0-3, obviously. The margin for error is non-existent. So it's never been done for a reason, because it's hard. Like the variance, you've got to have 4 straight games where, sorry, my dog is doing something weird down on the floor. I'm not quite sure what's happening here. You all right there, little Luna? What are you doing there? Sorry, I had to check on Luna. Yes, when you go down 3-0 or 3-1 for that matter, it's not like you're playing a scrub team. The other team, even if you are much better, like the Pistons are much better than the Magic in this opening series. Like, even if you have a big extreme advantage over your opponent, they're still a decent team. They're in the playoffs. So, like, you have to hope that there's never going to be like a negative regression game for you where like the Rockets just shoot bad once in the last 4 games or have a bunch of turnovers. And you have to hope there's not a big positive regression game for the Lakers where they just shoot out of their ass one game or all the bounces go their way. There's a reason why it never happens, why very few teams come back from 3-1 and why nobody comes back from 3-0, because it's almost impossible. But look, one of 16 teams ever to get it into a Game 6 now, and if they win Game 6 on Friday, where they are favored to do so, they will become just the 5th team ever to get it into a Game 7. And then at that point, all the momentum is really rolling in Houston's favor, even though it's on the road. And you would think that the Lakers are going to have a lot of pressure on them then to not fumble that one and become the first team ever to blow it up 3-0. So I think that there's a chance that Houston still can win this series, Alex. But you're right. They could have already won it if they didn't. themselves choke away a lot. And if KD wasn't just hiding on the bench with his tassel cap on. And shout out to you in Italy. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for letting me know. I love to hear where people are coming from and where they're tuning in from all around the world. About 600 people still in here. The hour and a half mark. It's 2:30 a.m. on the East Coast. So getting late for Gary and I, but we still have some super chats here to power our way through. So we will continue doing so. We've got D Jiang up next. What's up, D Jiang? Another regular. Thank you and welcome in. I appreciate you being here.
If you had one game to save the world against the Monstars, which 5 retired legends who never won a championship would you choose to represent Earth?
That is quite a question. Let me just see what else is going on here. I'm going to just let my dog outside real quick. I think she might have to go to the bathroom. I will be back.
I can talk for a minute. Go ahead. This is a good question for me to talk.
And I'll think about it while I'm letting her out. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, so I hate to say it, but Karl Malone is someone who comes to mind for me. John Stockton, Chris Paul, because I was going to say John Stockton should be the starting point, but then you have Chris Paul also. Karl Malone. It's a very interesting question. Now, see, the one thing, when I'm making my videos on my channel, I brainstorm, not on my video. You only see the edited version. Okay, Skap's back. Who I've listed so far is Karl Malone, John Stockton, and CP3.
For one game with Earth hanging in the balance, oh boy, two guys from the Jazz that couldn't even beat Michael Jordan. You want them to beat the aliens, Gary? That's
Michael Jordan is better than the aliens, and who else? If these guys had never won a championship anyways, so, but I'm just throwing out candidates. Nothing's locked in.
Okay, I'm going with, for sure, I want Jordan, I want Kobe, and I want Bird. For sure. I want those 3 guys because they're elite competitors.
They're champions who've never won a championship.
What do you mean? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I missed the question. Let me read it one more time. If you had one game to save the world against the Monstars, which 5 retired legends who never won a championship would you choose to represent Earth? Okay. Sorry, I was very distracted by my dog having to go to the bathroom. I didn't hear the extent of the question. This is an interesting question, DJing.
So Malone and Stockton are pretty good, right? In that case.
For sure. I think I do want Stockton for sure. He would 100% be on my list. I think Charles Barkley would be on my list as well. Okay, Luna has returned from her bathroom break, everybody. Update. As I continue to mull over, I want so I got Chuck, I got Stockton. Are we going with like injured guys? Can we get injured guys who weren't injured? Can we assume they would be healthy? Could we throw them in the mix as well?
Yeah, I guess we can. Sean Kemp is a good candidate. I've got to put Malone over Bart. And I can't stand Malone, but that guy was good. That guy was elite. Karl Malone is, like they always say, Tim Duncan is the GOAT power forward. But I always had a hard time even thinking he would ever be better than Karl Malone. It took me a while to get there. And that's coming from a Karl Malone hater.
I'm gonna throw and we could go with Chuck. We could go with Chuck at 3 and Malone at 4. Stockton at 1. I'm going with Reggie Miller at 2. So we've got one and a lot of these guys. This is basically like a all-star team of guys that have lost to Michael Jordan essentially.
Mutombo?
So
center maybe.
Gary, I think I'm going to fill it out with Patrick Ewing, I think. Mutombo could be on the squad.
Yeah, I agree. Good call.
But I'm going to go with Ewing. So we got Stockton at 1, Miller at 2, Chuck at 3. Malone at 4, and Ewing at 5. I like that. I like the composition of that team. I like the tenacity, the grit. We got some defense on there. Stockton was an elite point defender. We got Ewing was a good rim defender. I think I'd roll those 5 out.
I don't know how well Barkley Barkley would be at the 3 because he'd be so much slower. So let's see if we can find a quick 3 substitute. Because Sean Kemp would be another good power forward. We got 3 great power forwards in Chuck, Malone, and Kemp. In center, Patrick Ewing, I think, is the right choice. Also, honorable mention, Alonzo and Dikembe.
For sure.
But at the 3, I got it. What about Tracy McGrady?
That was the name I was trying to think of whenever I asked about health. You could also throw in Carmelo Anthony potentially for scoring burst. So yeah, maybe one of those 2 guys at 3 would be a good swap for Chuck. Nice. Thank you, DJing, for that interesting question. And Gary, thank you for the assistance. Luna is back in and she's gotten some treats now. So luckily she's all settled now in her little bed, thankfully. We've got L Johnson 3117. L Johnson, welcome into you. Thanks for being here. And for whatever the question or comment is, Gary, go ahead with it.
The Lakers are interested in Payton Watson. Who would the Nuggets possibly trade for? And by the way, just for the record, I looked it up. Payton Watson is a restricted free agent, so the Nuggets can match any offer if they choose to.
Yeah, let me go into some more detail on that, if I may, Gary. Yes, he is an RFA this year, which means what exactly? It means that he is a free agent, but with restrictions. The restrictions being that any team in the NBA can sign him to a qualifying offer, but then the Nuggets have the opportunity to match whatever that number is. Furthermore, because the Nuggets drafted him and he's been with Denver for his entire career, the Nuggets own his bird rights, which means that they are able to penetrate the cap to whatever level they want. They could go into the second apron if they wanted to in order to retain him at any cost. Will they? This is my problem. My ongoing issue with this bum organization, the Denver Nuggets. There's been murmurings around the league that the Nuggets were likely to trade Cam Johnson, who I think has been a great fit. This series notwithstanding, every Nugget is playing like shit. If you look at just this series, you trade the whole team. Up until this series, when Cam Johnson has been on the floor, particularly the second half of the year, he has been a fantastic fit there. So getting rid of him would be a ridiculous idea. You've got to keep Cam Johnson and Payton Watson. In fact, I would get rid of Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and keep Cam Johnson and Payton Watson. But I digress. The plan is allegedly, if you listen to league sources, to get rid of Cam Johnson to keep Payton Watson. So essentially the options sound like keep Cam or Payton Watson, not both. Of course, that's because the Nuggets are 1, cheap as hell and a terrible franchise, and 2, horribly run at the top and make terrible, mind-boggling, head-scratching decisions like giving Christian Brown $25 million a year. 5 years, $125 million, and he is just at the infancy of that contract. This is the first year of it. Let me read you what Christian Brown has done in his career to warrant that 5-year, $125 million contract. He's been in the league 4 years. He's 24 years old. Here are his career averages. 9.6 points per game, 3.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists. $125 million over the next 5 years. Well, 4 years now. They gave him that contract on the heels of his 2024-2025 season, where he averaged 15 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 58% shooting in 79 games. This year, he played in only 44, by the way, scored 12 points per game, 4.5 rebounds and 2.7 assists on 51% shooting, basically down across the board now into this second season while only playing in 44 games. And now in the playoffs in 5 games in this series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 9 points, 9. 4 rebounds and 2 assists. That's 9, 4, and 2 in 32 minutes, 43% shooting, which are practically all wide open shots and dunks. 44%, $25 million. This is the problem. See, this is what I'm talking about with the Denver Nuggets and why we must mitigate our criticisms of Nikola Jokic, because that garbage heap of a franchise makes those kind of decisions. And now, because of that decision, now they're going to lose Cam Johnson or Payton Watson. 2 guys with elite athleticism, shot making, and creating abilities as well. 2 guys that could probably average 20 plus on any other team on high shooting efficiency and chip in on defense. They're going to lose one of them for Christian bum-ass Brown and his $25 million a year. Terrible, terrible. So to answer your question, L. Johnson, I would not trade Payton Watson at all. I would keep him. But yes, the Lakers are one of the teams. There's like 3 teams that have been announced with extreme interest in Payton Watson. It could potentially be a sign and trade if the Lakers or whoever the team would be, if the Nuggets want to play ball with them, it could be a sign and trade, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I would keep him. I would find a way to keep both him and Cam. Honestly, again, Christian Brown, whatever, you're not going to get rid of him. I just went through how the sheer atrocity of that contract and what the production is to match it. You're not going to get rid of him. So I would trade Jamal Murray. And if you could, Aaron Gordon, I think you probably could. I think Aaron Gordon still has value. Even though the dude just can't stay healthy. But I would trade both of them. They're like 30. They're not that durable generally. Murray was this year. I would trade them both. I think you can get a lot back for them. And I think you can get younger, fresher, more athletic and just have Jokic be with like just a bunch of young, fast, athletic guys. Like that would be way better than this in my estimation. That's what I would do, L. Johnson. Next in, we've got Superstar and You Know It. Man, I'm so glad I was able to read all of that in one punch. All those lowercase run together. Superstar and You Know It. What's up? Love the avatar. It looks like it's Kobe and Shaq, Lakers with a championship trophy. Love to see it. Love to see it. And thanks for being here. I appreciate you and your generous donation here. Gary, what's the question or comment?
As a Lakers fan, this is the epitome of what the negatives are of having LeBron at this age leading the charge. He's tired, old, and turns it over too much. He has good games, but his defense is trash.
Yeah, I mean, his box score is looking good. Predominantly, he's shooting. I mentioned earlier that he's shooting not a great percentage from outside right now. Really not a great percentage from anywhere this series. I think he's at around 46% right now, maybe 47%, maybe as low as 45 after tonight's performance. So he's not shooting well overall. And yes, his defense is lackadaisical typically. And see that therein lies the rub with LeBron. Like his numbers have looked great. He has aged very gracefully from a box score standpoint in terms of his production, from a raw number standpoint. But his plus minus is always down now at this point of his career. His on-offs are down because he's lousy defensively. And it's not that he's lousy. He could still be great defensively. He just has to limit what he's doing on the offensive side of things and focus more with a more sustained energy and effort on the defensive side, which he's just not willing to do, quite frankly, at this stage of his career for any length of time. And that's the issue. You're right. Superstar and You Know It. That is the problem with the Lakers. It has been the problem with the Lakers for a couple years now. And it's going to continue to be the problem as long as LeBron James is part of that team. Now, maybe when and if Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are back in the mix, they can revert back to the way they were playing in the last month of March. They were 14-1 or something like that in the month of March, with LeBron accepting his third role and being more of a defensively oriented player. Maybe he can go back to that at this point if those guys get back. But if Luka gets back anyway, it's going to be next series against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it doesn't matter what way this team plays against that team. I think they got no shot at all. But don't worry, Superstar, and you know it. I think no matter how this season does come to an end, I think this will be LeBron's final year in a Los Angeles Lakers jersey. So, you know, it's all going to come. The nightmare will end soon enough. Don't you worry. Next, we've got Brikola Jokic in for a third time now tonight. Welcome back in, Brikola. Let's see what he has. Probably, again, yes, another anti-Nuggets or a pro-Laker take. Go ahead with Brikola's most recent super chat here, Gary.
What greatness, LMAO, Mr. Stat Pad, the joke-er.
Yeah, I mean, Nikola Jokic, who is leading the NBA in plus minus over the last 6 years, who is, quite frankly, one of, if not the absolute singular greatest player ever in on-offs. The guy is insane. He's had a couple near plus 20 on-off seasons. Even this year, when his net swing had been mitigated some degree, it is still by far and away a top 2 net swing. I think he ended up edging out Victor Wembanyama for net swing, but him and Wembanyama were just heads and shoulders above everybody else. This is the problem with uneducated people that don't really watch the games. They just crawl on social media and read troll output, and they're just ignorant and uneducated themselves. I'll take Brikola off because, again, I'm not specifically talking about Brikola or about Brikola at all. Just uneducated and ignorant people that don't really watch the games or don't understand the impact that Nikola Jokic has. It's not about the numbers because, again, Nikola Jokic's numbers are insane still in this round. Like 25, 14, and 9 right now. And last game, 27, 16 and 12 on 15 shots. How many people have done that? You might be wondering. It's 3 ever. He's one of the 3 performances in NBA history that have scored at least 25 points per game with at least 10 and 10 on under 15 shots. It was Oscar Robertson, Jokic, and maybe I want to say Kareem. They were like in the 60s and 70s were the last time we saw it. The numbers are still insane looking for Nikola Jokic, even as he struggles in this round, but the impact isn't the same. The gravity isn't the same. The floor rising isn't the same because the efficiency isn't the same. So it's not just the numbers that these ignorant, uneducated people that just troll Jokic. It's not just they're like, oh, these stat padded triple. It's not the triple doubles. First of all, he has like 95 triple doubles through 3 quarters in his career right now. I think it's 95. Let me see exactly the all-time triple-double list right now. Jason Kidd with 107 triple-doubles, 6th all-time. LeBron James, 125 triple-doubles, 5th. Magic Johnson, 138, 4th. Oscar Robertson, 181, 3rd. Nikola Jokic, 198, 2nd. And Russell Westbrook, 209, 1st. But Jokic has 95 of those triple-doubles in the 3rd quarter. So Jokic would still be 7th all-time in NBA history on the triple-double list if he never played a single 4th quarter. So the fact people say stat pad and Nikola Jokic in the same sentence is just the epitome of ignorance and just being an uneducated basketball fan. I call you a fan, but mainly a troll and a hater. But the gravity, it's not just about the numbers. It's the gravity and the impact that he has on floor rising this scrub team. because when that gravity dissipates, because his effectiveness isn't there, this is what this team is. Trash. They were the best shooting team in the regular season, 50% from the field and 40% from the three-point line because of the gravity of Nikola Jokic. Now when that gravity and the effectiveness of Jokic dissipates, now this team is sheer garbage. They are the worst shooting team out of 16 in the postseason to this point. That is the magic and the greatness of Nikola Jokic. Not that he has 4 or 5 championships, that he's always competing for championships somehow with garbage around him for his entire career. And to highlight it, 43% from the field, 30% from the three-point line now, from down 7 percentage points from the regular season from the field and 10 percentage points from the three-point line. I don't understand the criticisms of Nikola Jokic. If this guy had super teams around him and was failing, I would get it. But the fact that he has these scrubs around him for 11 years and somehow still is well over 500 in his postseason career and has an NBA championship, again, I just don't get it. But to each their own, to all of you out there and to Bracola. Next in is Joshua CH9FG. Welcome in, a regular Joshua. Thanks for being here, as always. And to all of you, we're hitting the 2-hour mark here. Still 511 people in here. Great turnout, as always, from you guys. I appreciate it. Gary, what does Joshua have for us tonight?
I like Vanderbilt for Game 6 to add length, defense, and mental boost. Thoughts?
I like Vanderbilt too. I don't know why he isn't playing more, honestly. 6 minutes tonight. So the Lakers played 4 guys off the bench tonight. LaRavia got 9 minutes, Jackson Hayes 10, and Austin Reeves 34. Of course, Austin Reeves will start next game, and presumptively it will be Luke Kennard to the bench, who played 31 minutes tonight. He'll still probably get minutes. I don't know why Vando hasn't been playing more or why JJ doesn't like Vanderbilt. I know there was an incident between JJ and Vando down the stretch of the regular season where they got into an altercation at a dead ball, like on the court, and then Redick pulled him. I don't know. Maybe maybe he's just in the doghouse. I don't know, but I'm with you. Length, defense. He can make outside shots as well. I would go with Vanderbilt for extensive minutes next game, if not in the starting lineup, because probably I like Ayton, Rui, LeBron, Marcus Smart, and Reeves in the starting lineup. But Vanderbilt would be like my first guy off the bench. Basically, he would be like my 6th man next game if I were JJ. But hell, JJ knows, or at least he thinks he knows more than everybody else. So I'm sure he has a reason for why he's doing this. Next in, we've got Amanda Draws 8682. We have Amanda in the channel. I guess I shouldn't presume whether this is a female or not, but I would assume that it is. So welcome in, Amanda. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here and sponsoring us here in the sponsor area of Skap Live After Dark. Gary, what is the question or comment from Amanda tonight?
Well, I think she just has a thought to share with us. Playoff scoring is low. Reminds me of early 2010s NBA. This is a good thing. Less 140-point games, but I'd like regular season like this.
Yeah, and I have talked about this over the last couple years on my channel. It really does highlight the fact that, look, people talk about this being such a terrific era, the athleticism, the talent, the skill, the depth of all of the players, the going 1 through 8, 1 through 9, 1 through 10, with all the skill that we've never seen before. And that's why the scoring is just so high, because of that. That's not true. I mean, that might be factoring in a bit, but a lot of it too is the lack of effort on defense. These players just simply don't care. They're not putting the effort in the regular season. There's no pride on that side of the ball anymore during the regular season. That is a major factor as to why scoring is so high. And it's the same as it is this year. The last 3 seasons basically have been the same, around 115 points per game in the regular season. And then that whittles down to around 106 or 107 in the playoffs. That's a substantial cut. That's a big drop off. And the same as it has been the last 3 years, so it is now. 115 in the regular season. It's 107 right now. It's probably going to get lower as we go because better defensive teams are going to continue to surface as we go along. So, and you see teams that just don't play defense pretty much all year long playing defense. Like the Nuggets are trying on defense now. The Lakers are playing good defense now. The Magic gave up 114 points per game, or 114 points per 100 possessions in the regular season. They were at 100 points per 100 possessions going into tonight's game. There's just teams that, like, they all care more. They're all trying more and playing harder now that it's the playoffs. And yeah, it's cool that they're doing that in the playoffs, but it really does emphasize the fact that the regular season stinks and is lousy, and these guys aren't competing, and stats across the board are really being plushed up more so than what they should be. And the numbers are looking better in this era than past eras because there is no defense. So there's a bunch of that going on. Next in, Bricola is back. And again, Bricola is just going to keep coming with the super chats. Thank you, Bricola. Gary, I'll just take care of this one for you. He says Scam Johnson. This was from about 50 minutes ago, probably when we were talking about Cam Johnson. Yeah, he's fallen off. He's disappeared in the playoffs. The entire Nuggets roster basically has, and it's a mixture of things. It's Nikola Jokic has been limited. Therefore, all of the advantages that all these other players have is non-existent, and they look like the trash that they really are. And then somewhat is, yes, the Timberwolves are just up in them. They're playing good defense. They're affecting these shots more than what the Nuggets are used to on a nightly basis in the regular season. Those things are all, kind of combining to produce what we're seeing right now in this series, which to this point has been a non-existent Denver Nuggets team. There are still 2 games left now to rewrite that for Denver. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Next in is Odin Dark First. What is up, Odin? Welcome in. It's a new name, at least here in the sponsor area. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Gary, what's the question or comment from Odin?
No team beside the Spurs or OKC is efficient this playoff. And I can tell you the Spurs, they closed out last night, but I don't know if you watched it, Skap, but did you watch it?
I did.
Did you see that they let the Blazers back in? That's the scary thing. I'm a big Spurs fan, and what I've been telling Skap all year, the scary thing about the Spurs is that they did it a lot in the first half of the season. They've cut down immensely the second half, but what they tend to do is have these long lapses for each game. Like they can go up 20 points, and then within 12 to 15 minutes, the other team can be tied up or maybe even take the lead. And the Spurs did that a lot, even though they won the first half of the season. And they've done it a lot less the second half. But it concerns me. I mean, we saw it in the first half of Game 4 against Portland. They were down 15 at halftime. Then they went berserk in the second half. That's what the Spurs do. They go berserk for like a half, but then they'll have a quarter or sometimes even a half where they don't play well. And you can't do that in the playoffs in the deeper rounds. Like, you're not going to be able to do that against OKC and get away with it. And honestly, I don't even think they could do that against Denver or maybe not even Minnesota. Definitely, if Anthony Edwards was playing, I would actually favor Minnesota to beat the Spurs in round 2. But without him, I would say the Spurs would probably win that. But to be honest, they have to play efficient for 4 quarters or they will get upset in these playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, some of it, Gary, is Wembanyama is just going to have to play more, I think, as the playoffs go on. He was a plus 20 last night in 34 minutes. They're just going to maybe have to look. They just play a lot of guys. Like they played 4 guys substantial minutes off the bench. Like 4 guys got substantial minutes, like not trash time minutes. There was more guys that played, obviously, but a 9-man rotation. Harrison Barnes with 13 minutes, Keldon Johnson 18, Luke Cornett 13 minutes, and then Dylan Harper 26 minutes. Like they just might have to tighten the rotation a little bit more. The starters didn't play many minutes. No one played more than 34 minutes. Look, as the playoffs go on, like you're just gonna have to play because the starters dominated. Like Victor Wembanyama plus 20, De'Aaron Fox plus 26, Devin Vassell plus 22, and then Stephon Castle was plus 12. So like they were dominant when the starters were in. So like they're just gonna have to compress that lineup a little bit maybe and ride the starters a little bit more as the playoffs go on. I think. Look, Denver is a tough matchup for them. If Denver comes back and wins, and then they get Payton Watson, look, Aaron Gordon's done. It's over. He's just never going to be right. There's not enough time or days off or whatever for him to get whatever the hell is wrong with him right. Like his hamstring's always messed up. Now it's his calf. It's just over for him. So like all they can hope for is that Payton Watson, he's been out for now over 4 weeks with his own hamstring injury. He's already been ruled out for game 6. They're going to, I think, just leave him out all series and hope that the Nuggets can find a way without Gordon or Watson to win the series and then have Watson come back healthy if they win. If that happens, maybe the Nuggets can give the Spurs a real series because it is a bad matchup. And the Nuggets are battle tested and they do have Jokic, who does own Victor Wembanyama to this point of the career. Like, Wembanyama is a tremendous player. He's a top 3 player already. I talked about him on the top. I think he could be a top 10 player easily, maybe even in GOAT conversations. He's got that ceiling level. But right now, to this point, Jokic just has figured him out. So maybe that's a series. Without Ant-Man, if the Timberwolves get through, that's a quick series, I think, for the Spurs. And then we'll see. The Spurs present matchup issues then for Oklahoma City, though, Gary. I will say that. Go ahead.
Okay, this pains me to say this. I agree with Ode and Dark first right here. Spurs and OKC are very efficient. And maybe not as consistently efficient as these two, but you know who else has been efficient? And all we're doing is talking about how the Nuggets are underachieving and Murray's not consistent with his shooting, but I got to give some damn credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That game 4, as much as it hurt to see the Nuggets, because Skap and I are both big Nuggets fans. We want the Nuggets to win. But I only dislike opponents like if they cheat or if the ref helps them or something. Man, the Timberwolves are playing with a lot of heart. Losing Ant and Dante in the first quarter and then playing that game the way they did, and I do think I'm big on sportsmanship, but I honestly had no problem with Jaden McDaniels throwing that layup at the end. You know why? The Nuggets deserved that. That was the trashiest game from all of the Nuggets, including Jokic, I've ever seen since I've been watching this reign of Jokic over the last 4 years. I've never seen such a terrible effort from everyone. Jokic put more effort running down the court to chase Dan. I was like, hey, where was that energy at the goal, at the rim in the third and fourth quarter? You know, so I'm not saying Jaden should have done it, but I'm not going to get up in arms about it, because if you wouldn't have played like Dong the whole second half, then he wouldn't have done that in the first place.
I think while I agree that I didn't have a problem with either player. I didn't have a problem with Jaden McDaniels doing it because these teams hate each other and Minnesota embarrassed them. Like, But at the same time, so I don't have any problem with him taking the basket. At the same time, there are unwritten rules in sports, and baseball particularly, but also basketball. That was a buzzer-beating layup, up 15. Like, it's a trash play. Like, and Jokic took exception. I have no problem with him running down the court and like getting in you. People are saying it's bad sportsmanship or whatever. Okay, it was bad sportsmanship by both players, and I honestly don't care. Like, I like it. I kind of like the response by both. I kind of liked McDaniel. I liked him doing it, and I liked Jokic's response to it. So, like, I really didn't have a problem with it. And, like, the Timberwolves, look, to your point, like, they're leading the NBA playoffs in bench scoring right now. Like, they just, look, Ayo Dosunmu is leading their team in scoring 22 points per game on 60% shooting from the field and 55% shooting from the three-point line and 95% shooting from the free throw line. So 60, 50, and 95 splits on 21 points per game, 22 points per game for Ayo Dosunmu. And then Julius Randle's having a good series. He's scoring 19 per game. Jay McDaniels at 15 points per game. I mean, Anthony Edwards is down there. Yes, he's hurt. Yes, he's out. But like 18 points per game on 35% shooting from Anthony Edwards, and they were up 3-1 in the series. I mean, Naz Reid in double digits. Dante DiVincenzo is in double digits. Now you have Bones Highland is probably going to get more play. Rudy Gobert is not even scoring, only 7 points per game, but he has obviously been very impactful with his defense. So, I mean, yeah, the Timberwolves, they're a really, really good team. There's a reason why the Timberwolves have been in 2 consecutive Western Conference Finals before this season, because their team is great. Like, without Ant-Man, they're great. It's just a great team. It's almost like whoever the architect of that team has done a great job. Oh, yeah, it's the guy that built the championship Nuggets, and then the Nuggets didn't want to pay him, so he left to go to Minnesota and build that team. The Nuggets organization, they really are just a piece of shit. They really are. Next in, we've got speaking of shit, Type Sheet. What's up, brother? Welcome into you. Gary, go ahead with this Bronny targeted super chat.
We will not hear any trash talk about Bronny James, future GOAT over here. Bronny is a real Make-A-Wish kid. Well, Type Sheet. Wait until Bryce comes in next year.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, hopefully. We've got Bronny James, 2-year NBA player now. 2.7 points per game, regular season average for Bronny. And unfortunately, he has now dipped to 1.7 points per game for his playoff career at this point, which is really just the extent of this series. He had a couple nice moments in those early games when everything was flowing for the Lakers and everybody was just throwing shit up and it was all going in. But now he is down to 1.7 points per game. There were some nice moments from him in these playoffs. Otherwise, like, I think him and LeBron assisted each other in the playoffs, had back-to-back baskets or something like that earlier on in the series. I just kind of erased those things from my memory banks because they really don't matter to me, but I understand that they are impressive to other people out there. Like Nick Wright is one instance of a guy who's very impressed with Bronny and LeBron this postseason. But yeah, I'm going to save my praise for someone scoring more than 1.7 points per game in these playoffs Type Sheets. So yeah, I don't really think he belongs or deserves to be in the NBA, but we all know that, don't we? Next in, look at this one. Jokic owns LeBron. I like that. This is a handle to combat the Jokic handle that's going around, the Bracola Jokic handle that's been throwing stuff out here. We've got a Jokic owns LeBron. He does. Let's see what they have though for a question or comment, Gary.
I had to kind of laugh at this one. Read the news. Longevity age reversal treatment will be normalized very soon. It would be normal for players to play 20 to 30 or 100 seasons. Could you imagine all the guys? Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan and Bill Russell would still be playing right now. 100 years?
Yeah, Jokic owns LeBron. I was with you until the very end. I longevity and age reversal treatments are becoming normalized. Players are playing now longer than ever already. And I think 20-year season, like Kevin Durant's probably going to play 20 seasons. It is going to become more of a normal thing, I think, if players want to do it. And yes, just as an overall point, I am obsessed with anti-aging, obsessed, because I hate aging. I grew up watching one of my favorite shows when I was younger was The Highlander, the TV series, which there is now a major motion picture reboot underway for that franchise, starring Henry Cavill and Russell Crowe, actually. And David Bautista is going to be the Kurgan, the villain in that film. Anyway, The Highlander is about immortals who, once they die the first time in their life, they never age again. And they can't die unless their head gets chopped off, of course. And then they fight each other with swords until there can be only one left remaining at the end. When there's a few that remain of these immortals, they are pulled to this one central location. It's called The Gathering, and they battle to the end, when one of them will win the ultimate prize, which is to essentially take on all like the knowledge and power of the universe and like rule the universe, or just become a regular human and live out the rest of their lives. Anyway, I was a big fan of that TV series growing up, where the star of it was his name was Adrian Paul. He played Duncan MacLeod, and the guy was like 35 and he was 400 years old. So I grew up with an expectation that I was never going to age after like 35. And unfortunately, that is not reality, as we know. But I also was a big sports fan and stuff growing up. I like, professional athletes who are typically in their 30s. Anyway, I have a lot of individual and internal issues with aging. So I am banking on the fact that technology is going to catch up here and stop me from aging out. Like, I want to become like an android or something. I want to like clone my body and like upload my mind into it, or have some crazy drug that starts de-aging cells or stopping cells from degeneration. So I'm with you, Jokic owns LeBron. I hope so. I'm banking on it just like you, but 100 seasons is definitely a stretch for an NBA player. Next in, J-Vol. We've got a LeBron fan in next. We've got J-Vol with a Bricola Jokic runner coming up here in these next two super chats. So J-Vol, what's up to you? What's up to you? I know this is a young buck. He's like 20 years old. Speaking of anti-aging and stuff, J-Vol will likely live to be 400 because he's such a young guy. And this age, hopefully this renaissance of de-aging is coming shortly. But we know, because J-Vol is a young guy, that he loves LeBron. So go ahead with J-Vol's somber super chat, I'm sure, on this night.
Skap, what will make you happier? The birth of your first son, or if LeBron and the Lakers choke the first ever 3-0 lead?
That's a great question, J-Vol. I don't know if it's in the cards for me to have kids. I have my best friend is sitting on my lap because she's been so needy over the last couple hours. This is my best buddy, little Luna. She's my best friend in the whole world. Just go back to bed, little girl. So I don't know if it's in the cards for me to have kids. I can only assume what it would be like to have a child, though, J-Vol. And is imagining it, probably LeBron choking a 3-0 lead would make me happier. I have to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm hoping. But again, though, J-Ball, I said I am conflicted, because it will also be funny to see LeBron get wiped in the next round. Like, the entire Laker team, for that matter, get run through the floor. Like, I honestly, like, what will the net differential be in that series if it's Lakers and Thunder? What do you think? Like 20, over under 20 per game. Gary, what do you think? Do you think the average margin of differential in a 4-game sweep for the Thunder over the Lakers, do you think that it would be 20 more or less per game?
I think it would be somewhere around there. And I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised the Lakers might get one. Like the OKC kind of is complacent. But then again, they did sweep the Suns, and the Suns were not in any of those games. And I would say the Suns are not that far off from the Lakers, honestly.
Yeah, I could see that, Gary. Maybe like the previous worst beating in NBA playoff history, J-Ball. I don't know if you know this. Your LeBron James and the Miami Heat lost to Gary's San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals in 2014. Now, LeBron did get one game in that series, but it was like they won by like 2 or 3. It was like a very tight win. And then the Spurs eviscerated them the other 4 games, like 25-point beatings in every game otherwise. So I could see that kind of being similar, Gary. You're right. I could see the Lakers like snagging one like nail biter, winning by like 1 and then losing by 30 in every other game. I could see that being the path of the series. And that J-Ball would also make me very happy. So, you know, I don't know. I'm conflicted, but I would take the 3-0 blow. Like the fact that it's never been done before in NBA history, and the expectation is that it never will be done. In fact, I think in hockey, it was done shockingly 4 times. A team in the NHL has overcome an 0-3 hole. In baseball, just once. If you remember that famous Red Sox-Yankees series in the early 2000s, where the Yankees took a 3-0 lead, and the Red Sox, I forget the name, the idiots they called themselves or something, the Johnny Damon and Ortiz and Pedro Martinez team, they stormed back to win 4 straight, the only time in baseball history. It's never been done in the NBA. It's only been accomplished 4 times in 160 that we learned earlier tonight that a team has gotten into 7. So I would take that, I think. Yes, J-Ball. That would probably make me the happiest of all. Go ahead, Gary.
It's due, though. Just because it's never happened, it is due. And what better time, what better team with LeBron for the first time in league LeBron can make history again. So, wow, if that was to happen, yeah, God really does have a sense of humor.
Next in again, Bricola Jokic. Thank you so much for your now 4th super chat of the night, Bricola. I appreciate you. I see you hustling out there, trying your best to slander Nicola. But what I don't understand, I'll read this one, Gary. James Harden, you bums. I don't really understand what that one means. Is it supposed to be?
I asked him in the chat. He didn't clarify. I said I want to read it in its correct context. But Bricola, you never responded to me.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be James Harden, comma, you bums. Or like James Harden, ... you bums, ! Like, I think he's trying to like proclaim James Harden as like he's had a great game or a great run or something like that. This is the irony of these people, Gary, that hate on Nikola Jokic, who is a very clutch playoff performer with an NBA championship ring, surrounded by relative scrubs. James Harden has been surrounded by relative super teams for his entire career. He has handpicked every destination he's gone to. He's played for like 5 teams now at this point, and he's got elite superstars flanking him at every step and every direction that he goes to. And yet he just plays so utterly small and craps in his pants basically every single April or May. It's like clockwork, death, taxes, and Jimbo Harden pooping himself come playoff time. And yet Bricola Jokic will hate on Nicola, who is like 2nd in NBA history in postseason PER and BPM, but then uplift James Harden. It's pretty funny to me, the irony of that. Ruthless Raider 78 is in now. Welcome into you, Ruthless Raider. I appreciate it. A Raider fan, obviously, with that Raiders avatar, Gary. What's the question or comment from Ruthless Raider 78?
Salute to you for letting your dog out to take a LeBron.
Yes, little Luna here, my 12-pound best friend, Shizu. She took a LeBron. I like that. I like normalizing that as a synonym for taking a dookie or a poopy, a LeBron. I like that. We Ruthless Raider 78. Maybe we can get that if we really pushed for it. We can get that added into like the Webster Dictionary or something like that. At the very least, on Urban Dictionary, I would hope. Shout out to you again, Ruthless Raider. Next in, we've got, I don't know, HLZ Burrow 738. Hillsboro, I think I'm going to read that as Hillsboro 738. Welcome into you and shout out to you, Hillsboro. Thank you for your generous and kind contribution in here tonight. Gary, what is the question or comment that follows this nice donation that they have made for us?
Vegas 96. I'm not sure if maybe that's someone in the chat they are directing that to, but Vegas 96, I don't know if you have or not, but can you do a deep dive on these injuries with the hamstrings and wondering if it's a preseason issue or an off-season issue with Nuggets and LG in general? I guess LG means league.
Yeah, I have not. I guess maybe some kind of an investigation is warranted here. Maybe perhaps I will look into doing something like that because it is unprecedented. Like, to me, it's the Achilles as well. Like, Achilles ruptures are on the rise. Like, I don't remember anybody rupturing Achilles when I was in like grade school, high school, college. And now it's like a common occurrence. Like you see like multiple Achilles ruptures a year across multiple sports leagues, and these soft tissue injuries, the calf strains, the hamstring strains that just linger on and on and on. I mean, yeah, like watching the Nuggets as closely as I do, Aaron Gordon missed basically 50 games this year. Like he was playing great at the beginning of the year, got hurt for 6 weeks, came back for like 2 weeks, got hurt for another 6 weeks, and now he's hurt again in the playoffs. Payton Watson, same deal. Like, he got one, missed for like a month and a half, came back, was playing good. Well, not really, trying to get back. He played great when Jokic got hurt. And now he's been out for over a month now. So, but it's all these other players. Like Luka Doncic is always constantly, it seems like, dealing with a hamstring injury. He's out now, ongoing with that. It's just so odd and weird to see all these elite players that are plagued by these soft tissue injuries and these Achilles ruptures. And like, basically when I was growing up, it was all just like knee injuries. Like, that's all you had to worry about. Now it's all these other things. You don't really even see knee injuries that much anymore. So perhaps, yes, Hillsboro, I will do some kind of a deep dive of some sort and look into the occurrence of these injuries, the frequency of them, like dating back maybe like 30 years and looking at that as a sample size. Potentially, maybe that's just more publicized now than before, but I don't think so. Like, I don't remember, and in particular, like, I don't remember players getting hurt in the NBA like they do now. I mean, you had your players that were just cursed and like could never stay healthy. Right. Like we've seen all the way out throughout NBA history, like the Bill Waltons, the Brandon Roys, the Tracy McGrady's, but like never guys that are typically durable or otherwise durable that are just popping these hamstrings and calves every year now. Like, it's just weird. Next in, we've got, actually, I see we've got Hillsboro back. Let's just follow back up with Hillsboro, and then I'll jump back up to Jokic owns LeBron, because this from Hillsboro is a direct follow-up to this last super chat by them, which I just addressed. So Gary, go ahead and read that one.
The Bulls went 3 straight years, 96, 97, 98. No injuries, and now 2026, everyone is injured. Actually, Pippen was injured in 98, wasn't he? Because he hardly played that last game. He was, like, really struggling. But no major injuries. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, he had that that lingering back issue in the finals. But, yeah, I mean, to his point, and those were older players, by the way. They were all older, like in their mid-30s, basically. But yeah, I just want to go back and look. The 90, that was 97, 98, actually. The 97, 98 Chicago Bulls team that was In the regular season, 62-20. They actually did not have home court advantage. The 62-20 Jazz had the home court advantage. So I don't know what the tiebreaker was exactly there, but the Bulls and Jazz both had 62 wins, the most wins that year in the regular season. And in the regular season in 98, Pippen was hurt during the regular season too. He played only 44 games in the regular season, but Jordan played all 82 at 34. Rodman played 80 at 36. Tony Kukoc at 29 played 74. 82 for Ron Harper at 34 years of age. So, I mean, no like impactful injuries. You're right. Other than Scottie Pippen, who played only 44 games and then wasn't really right in the playoffs either, to Gary's point. But yeah, the year before, Jordan and Pippen both played 82 into their 30s. Rodman actually played only 55 games that year. Harper, though, 76 again. Yeah, I mean, older players, to your point, like guys in their mid-30s back then, which was a harder game and a harder game style. So, and like, yet still, to your point, like, no, like, yes, Pippen had the back, but nobody was like pulling hamstrings and calves that were like 5 weeks. Like, Pippen was playing intermittently through those playoffs, just not all that effectively. Okay, next in, we've got Jokic owns LeBron again. Oh, good. Another anti. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I'm gonna have to save this one. Go ahead, Gary, and read this.
It's true. If you Google Synolytics, Synomorphics, etc., they at least reversed the age of mice and monkeys so far. Humans are next. Science stuff.
Oh, goodness. Jokic owns LeBron. From your mouth to God's ears. Or I guess this would be kind of playing God, I guess, in a way. But I'm here for it. Damn it. It is 2026, the era of science. Let's all live a couple hundred years. Damn it. I hope you're right. Look, cellular degeneration is a disease. It's not like not every organism on planet Earth is afflicted by that disease. Like some insects and things like and other organisms, like they do not have the cellular degeneration that humans do. Like it's like a disease, and hopefully someday soon, we can find a way to at least halt or slow substantially that disease, and we can start living longer, because 75, 80 years, it's just not long enough, really, in the complexity of things, of time, and in the world's history. Like, for human beings to live on average like 75, 80 years, and then at what level of enjoyability are they living that to that point too? Like, I myself am now old in my mind. Like, I am over the hill. Like, I'm outside of my peak. I'm like around LeBron's age. So like, I'm into the 40s now at this point. And it's like, I myself have taken, I'm not LeBron. I'm not spending $1 million a year, but I do eat very clean. I work out 7 days a week. I have been pretty maniacal about my training and diet for basically the better part of my life now, at least half of my life. So, I'm doing everything I can now at this point, but even with all of my efforts, I know that I'm into a range where things are going to get harder, and I'm going to get slower and weaker, and my body's going to start breaking down, and I'm doing it better than 99% of everybody else. So like, at what enjoyability level are people living into their 50s and 60s and 70s with their body breaking down and decaying? Probably not a very good quality of life. So like, it's not only about living the extra years and extending our lifespans, but like stopping our cells from, decaying, and our bodies from betraying us. Hopefully, Jokic owns LeBron. We are getting to that point where it's going to be a reality here in this technology age. Go ahead, Gary.
And what sucks is when you hit around 40 is when you start to mature in your brain and you start to figure it out. But then you were dumb in your 20s, but you don't have that energy like you had in your 20s. So now we're way smarter, make better decisions, but we're tired and weighed down. So and me more than you, I'll be 50 in a few months. So yeah, I'm feeling it even more than you, and I still feel like, man, I wish I knew this stuff when I was in my 20s. But yeah.
Yep. Well, hopefully, Gary, help is on the way. To Jokic owns LeBron's point. Hopefully, we're just on the cutting edge of some really cool things that can extend us all now moving forward, or very shortly. All right, we've got Dakota Larry Brock. I struggle with these long ones that run together with lower casers. I'm just going to say Dakota. Thank you very much. Welcome in, Dakota. I appreciate you. I'll keep the handle up so people can see it, obviously. What is the question or comment from Dakota here?
If NBA changes rules to discourage traveling, more players will do post moves, slowing down the pace, less injuries. Ban today's common 4 to 5 step moves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of that is having a huge factor on injuries, but I'll tell you that it is an eyesore, and it's weird to watch guys just taking 4 to 5 steps, carrying and palming the ball like routinely. Just things that are violations in every level of basketball until you get to the NBA today. Things that were violations every step of the way in NBA history until like the last 10 years. Yeah, it's something that I wish was refereed or officiated a little cleaner and more to the point. I mean, it is, Gary, we were watching the game tonight and texting back and forth. There was a foul late that was initially ruled an offensive foul, I think on Jabari Smith, maybe, or maybe it was Tari Eason. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was, he got fouled underneath by Austin Reeves. It was initially called an offensive foul on the floor. It was reviewed, later overturned, and ruled a foul on the floor. But after he got fouled, or he fouled, or whatever the call was initially going to be made, he just like had the ball laying in his palm, basically upright, and he turned it back over, dribbled, and dunked it. Like, it was a clear, now the foul preceded that, obviously, but the move was a clear, like, it's something that you see often in the NBA today. It was a clear, like, carrying or palming violation. And like,
it was a double dribble. He dribbled and then he stopped and then he dribbled again. You can't do that.
Well, I'm saying you're saying he stopped the dribble. I don't think in his mind that's how extreme the palming or the carrying was, because it looked like he did terminate the dribble altogether. And then, to your point, and then he put it back down. But I think that was just a hezzy move, as the kids would call it today. I think he was just hesitating and got fouled. And that was just a normal path of his dribbling arc, which is crazy because it was just a clear whatever, double dribble, palming, carrying, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I agree with Dakota here that we do need to police that or watch out for it a little bit more moving forward. I don't know if it would impact the injuries or not. But Gary, that does bring us to the conclusion of our super chats tonight. We still have 440 people in here, going on the 2 hour and 40 mark. It's late here for Gary and I, guys. 3:38 a.m. on the East Coast. So a late, long night for both Gary and myself. It was an exhilarating night of basketball, obviously. 3 good games on the tap. We had that 45-point battle between Cade and Paolo Banchero with the Pistons staving off elimination. We had little game James Harden becoming big game James Harden for the Cavs and helping take a 3-2 lead over the Raptors there. And we had the Houston Rockets outplaying the Lakers for a 3rd straight game and beating them for a 2nd straight game to now force a Game 6 on Friday in Houston, where they will seek to make more history and become just the 5th team in NBA history to force a Game 7. And then we'll see from there on Sunday what might possibly transpire in that one. Guys, I am definitely hitting the wall. I'm sure Gary is too. Little Luna, my best friend here in my lap, is ready to go to bed. She's been such a patient little girl. But guys, it's been great catching up with you as always. Thank you guys so much for being here as always. And we've got, again, 3 huge games tomorrow. on the tap. 3 big game 7s tomorrow, the last day of April. We'll see if Atlanta can extend their season into May. We'll see if Philly can extend their season into May. And we'll see if Denver can extend their season into May. Perhaps Gary and I will slide back on tomorrow night, depending on what happens, depending on how my schedule goes. Guys, until then, again, many thanks for you for being here. Many thanks to Gary for being here. Have a great night and great